talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
G-Man.
Samira Swanee, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former Chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez. My name is Christian Carambeu.
I'm Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
I'm Rob Lusher, former Chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Samira Swanee, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening
to Pitch Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you. What do we bring to you? We bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions, because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And of course, the pitch is where we talk. Oh my God, what a week it's been. What a week it's been in the world of football. And what a week it's been in the world of pitch talk. And what a week it's going to be in the world of pitch talk as well. It is one of them ones. It's been busy. It's been fun. It's been hard times that as well in the world of Dusty Roll, the American Dream. But it's been all good. It is one of them ones where, yeah, it's been an interesting one. Leicester City v Newcastle's on the way. They're about 6-7 minutes into that. Still 0-0. Can Leicester maintain that snowball of momentum at the top of the league? Maybe, maybe not. Can Newcastle? Well, they've got a new man in charge, so can they show at least some bounce back ability in the race to stay in the Premier League? Very, very interesting. We'll have more on that later, a lot more on that later on. One managerial hiring, one managerial firing. We'll be talking about that in general talking points. But it is one of them ones where, yeah, man, it has been one of those weeks. But www.pitch-talk.com is the official website. Find out more about your Monday night football and fix at www.pitch-talk.com, our official website. Also, remember, facebook.com/pitch talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we're working so hard to create. pitchtalk.blogspot.co.uk or .com will get you to the blogs. Blogs by yours truly, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man, including the G-Man's newest blog about the 10 funniest names in football. Well worth a read. Inspired by Tokyo Sex Wallet. It is one of them ones. But also, Dave Meir, aka at Mearsey, his word of a ref blogs are on there as well. A couple of very interesting reads posted recently. One of the most prolific bloggers of your pitch talk, of the pitch talk families. It is all good. Also, it is one of them ones. Also, it is one of them ones where, yeah, it is one of them ones where, yeah, we also have youtube.com/pitch talk as well, where you can find pitch talk at the Capital One Cup final. We had a lot of fun on Wembley Way, meeting Manchester City and fellow Copites as well, Liverpool FC fans. It was one of them that was a lot of fun. Well, also, youtube.com/pitch talk is where you can find a Pitch Talk Meet series, Pitch Talk on the Road, and many other videos we have produced as well. Also 07535804466 is the mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you're texting, please leave your name at the end of the text so we can give you a shout out. Also twitter.com/pitch talk or at pitch talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. Facebook.com/pitch talk. Become fan, become friend, become member of the group, join the footballing revolution. We're working so hard to create. Pitch Talk Live on Google Plus as well. We're on Instagram at Pitch Talk on Instagram as well. It is one of them ones. We are live on YouTube right now. We also podcast on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio too. Just keep an eye out for our podcast. Keep an eye out for what we are doing too. And also big shout out to Russ Vernon, who's also had a new blog out on the PT website as well. PT blog site too. Got a hell of a lot of show to go through, but before we ask that, G-Man, how's your week and weekend, man?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Lee. Week and weekend, I've got to say, it's been mixed bags. Enjoyable in parts, and most noticeably not as enjoyable during the footballing parts. But you know, we'll get to that on when we get to the juicy parts of the show. Yeah, really and truthfully, I got to say, big shout out to like you said, Russ Vernon for his latest blog. Nice blog coming. Also Jennifer Evans, who's got something special coming up for everyone to read, and I think you'll like it. Yeah, I just want to say a big shout out to my mum, who's recovering from an ACL surgery that she's recently had. So yeah, that's it really.
Oh, was it the right ACL or left ACL?
It's her left.
Oh my God, that is eerie. That is eerie. Definitely wish her well. I know exactly how that surgery goes. And exactly the same thing in 2008. So it's one of them ones. Is one of them was the best for me personally. The best thing was just to have a lot of reading material and have something to aim for in terms of a comeback, because that's the best motivation when you've got something to come back for.
Yeah,
that would be my advice. So it is one of them ones. Those ACL ones, man. It still sends a shudder down the spine whenever I hear someone's had like an ACL tear. Still sends a shudder. Yeah, it is one of them ones. Big shout out to Ryan Sonley, actually, who's just sent a text through. Yeah, would like to wish me happy 30th for Thursday from a fellow birthday lad, Ryan, who celebrates his on Friday. So it's one of them ones. Birthday's coming up this week. We're coming out the wazoo. So it's all good. No, thank you for that. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day is always a lot of fun for me. It's a day where it's one of them ones where I end up becoming an honorary Irishman for the day, just purely because of when my birthday is and the fact that I've got an Irish name. But yeah, here's one of them ones. Yeah, it's always good. Can't wait. Actually, can't wait. Hey, Thursday's going to be interesting anyway because of that Europa League last 16, second leg is one of them ones. We'll talk about the first leg in a minute. It's a shame Jazzy Fizzle's not able to be here this week. But if things go well, if things go right, he should be back with us next week in time to reminisce about another beat. Anyway, yeah, leaving that aside. Couple Island will strike one. But yeah, it is one of them ones where, yeah, big shout outs to Girls on the Ball at Girls on the Ball on Twitter, and also big shout out to Finn White Line Magazine as well at Tweet White Line on Twitter, FinnWhiteLineMagazine.com, Facebook.com/Finn White Line Magazine as well. Remember, they are still doing digital copies of issue 1, and yeah, all proceeds from the digital copy of issue 1 of Finn White Line Magazine go to a really, really fantastic cause. So it is one of them ones where it is definitely worth buying. Finn White Line Magazine issue 1. Yeah, as said, all proceeds go to a really, really good cause. For more information, FinnWhiteLineMagazine.com. You can actually buy the magazine from there. Also at Tweet White Line on Twitter as well, on Facebook.com/Finn White Line Magazine. So get some more information from them. The magazine, I think, is about £2.50. So it's well worth. Hey, we feature in it too. So it's one of them was your Monday Night Football and Fix features in issue 1 of Finn White Line Magazine. Remember, proceeds go to a very, very good cause on that one. So well worth your purchase in the month of March. It is one of them ones though, where it is about almost that time. It is that time for us to be moving and grooving on to the very first segment of the show. And it's one of them ones where we had that Beneath the Surface tune behind us. Scratch underneath the surface. This is PET. Every Monday night, coming through YouTube and TVs. I had no other rhyme there. Curveball ran almost strike one. I had no other rhyme there. So let's go on to a bit of results and analysis. It's results and analyses. It's results analyses. Results and analyses. A's, B's. Well, actually, no, not these. These what? These not? No, not going that way. Not going that way. I know someone's waiting for me to go that way, and I'm not going that way. Not taking that bait. at least not yet. Anyway, it's one of them was. Well, I could have went to E's, but then you'd have to be skipping these, and you can't be skipping B. Anyway, leaving that aside, See, the Skypers are trying to get me to be the wrong one that everybody expects me to be, but I'm not Bret Hart. I tried to be everything that you wanted me to be. It's not that. It's not one of them ones. But no, it is one of them ones where we are going to jump into some results, and where we're going to start is Tuesday, 8th of March 2016, UEFA Champions League round of 16. Real Madrid 2, Roma 0, aggregate 4-0 to Real Madrid. Cristiano Ronaldo opened the scoring on 64 minutes, and James Rodriguez 4 minutes later added a second on 68 minutes. VfL Wolfsburg 1, KAA Ghent 0, aggregate 4-2 to Wolfsburg. Andre Schürrle with the only goal of the game on that night. Emirates FA Cup 5th round. G-Man, you want to take this one?
Yeah, Hull 0, Arsenal 4. Giroud scoring on the 41st minute. He then scoring on the 71st. Theo Walcott hitting his first on the 72nd, and on the 88th minute, Theo Walcott scoring his second, making it 4-0, and Arsenal progressing through to the next round of the FA Cup.
Which we'll get onto in a little bit.
Yeah, which we'll get into later. I'll just flow forward.
But you reckon? I personally reckon Hull gifted you guys that game, but we'll come back into that in a minute. Sky Bet Championship, Blackburn 2, Birmingham 0. Watt scoring on 20 minutes and Danny Graham getting a second on 23 minutes. Brighton 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Cardiff 0, Leeds 2. Very good week for Leeds United on the pitch. Dukara opening the scoring on 37 minutes and Marco Antonucci scoring on 94 minutes. Fabio was actually booked on 57 and sent off on 64 minutes. Charlton 0, MK Dons 0. Yaya Sanogo got sent off on 96 minutes. Fulham 2, Burnley 3. Sam Vokes opening scoring on 9 minutes. Ross McCormack scoring on 17 minutes. Moussa Dembele scoring on 22. Vokes scored a penalty on 49 and Andre Gray scored on 61 minutes. Huddersfield 3, Reading 1. Naki Wells opening the scoring on 51 minutes. Peterson scoring on 61 minutes. Bojaj scoring on 87 minutes, giving Huddersfield a 3-0 lead. And John scoring on 93 minutes to get Reading a consolation goal. Nottingham Forest 1, Preston 0. Castro Oliveira with the only goal of the game on 37 minutes. QPR 2, Derby County 0. Cherry on 24 minutes with the opening goal. And Angela on 86 minutes with the second goal in that game. Rotherham 1, Middlesbrough 0. Lee Frecklington scoring the only goal of the game on 88 minutes. It was a surprising result, to be honest. Halford was sent off a minute later on 89 minutes. Very surprising result against Middlesbrough. There's been a couple of surprises with Middlesbrough this week, but it has been confirmed within the last 20-25 minutes, to be perfectly honest, that Aitor Karanka will be staying on as Middlesbrough manager. So it's one that was apparently Aitor Karanka had been considering his future after leaving training early on Friday following a rout. Apparently, there was a lot that was reported, a lot of speculation, but it is one of them ones. The club was pretty quiet about it. But Middlesbrough Football Club can confirm that head coach Aitor Karanka will be resuming first team duties with the club with immediate effect. We have 10 games left this season, and as a club, we're fully focused on what remains of our championship campaign. So some were actually saying that he had lost the dressing room, and well, the fact that he's actually staying on might prove otherwise. So as said, there was a lot of conjecture, guessing and speculation, but for now, Aitor Karanka is staying at Middlesbrough, at least for the remaining 10 games. So all the speculation and all the guessing can now stop, and Middlesbrough can get back to trying to gain automatic promotion. So leaving that aside, anyway, that's about enough on that story, to be perfectly honest. Not a great deal else to say about it. But yeah, I feel like Steve Austin. That's all I got to say about that. Anyway, carrying on. Wolves 2, Bristol City 1. Burn opened the scoring for Wolves on 47 minutes. Flint equalised for Bristol on 77, and Doherty scored on 94 minutes to win it for Wolves. Bolton 2, Ipswich 2. Brew opened the scoring on 24 minutes. Christoph Berra scored on 72 minutes to give Ipswich a 2-0 lead, but Wilson scored on 73 and Dobby scored a 97th minute penalty to level it up. Here's one of them was. Yeah, Sky Bet League 1, Bradford 2, Burton 0. Reed opened the scoring on 13 minutes and Burke scored on 28 minutes. Scunthorpe 2, Doncaster 0. Hopper on 7 minutes. Murphin on 58. Shrewsbury 2, Coventry 1. Martin opened scoring for Coventry on 4 minutes, but Kai scored on 9 minutes and Wally scored on 39 minutes. Sky Bet League 2, Accrington 1, Portsmouth 3. Bennett on 22. Pearson OG on 36. Doyle on 43 and McCartan got one back for Accrington on 83 minutes. Bristol Rovers 3, Wimbledon 1. Easter on 28 minutes. Clark on 38 minutes gave Bristol a 2-0 lead, but Mead scored on 52, got booked on 59, and Taylor scored just to make it convincing on 78 minutes for Bristol Rovers, and Akin Fenwell was actually sent off on 91 minutes. Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Carlisle 0, Newport 0, Barnet 3. Yadam opened scoring on 9 minutes. Randall in first half stoppage time, and Akinde on 69 minutes for Barnet. Shifting on to Wednesday night for March 2016, UEFA Champions League round of 16. Zenit St. Petersburg 1, Benfica 2 in the early kickoff. Aggregate 3-1 to Benfica. Hulk opened the scoring on 69 minutes, but Gaitan scored on 85. And Sousa Conceição scored on 96 minutes. Chelsea 1, Paris Saint-Germain 2, which is a result I've actually been enjoying for the past week. Well, one of a few, actually. Rabiot opened the scoring on 16 minutes. Diego Costa equalized on 27, but Zlatan Ibrahimovic, daring to score again, scored on 67 minutes. So it is one of them ones. By the way, Leicester City are 1-0 up against Newcastle. News coming through. 24 minutes, Shinji Okazaki with the goal. 24 minutes gone, Leicester 1, Newcastle 0 is a current score in the Premier League. That is a current score. So it is one of them ones. Yeah, interesting stuff. Rafael Benitez, almost a third of the way into his debut match for Newcastle. I think he's realizing how difficult a job it is. More on that later. Because there is a certain clause that is very, very interesting. So yeah, it is one of them ones where Pitch Talk's own Brad Hicks must be very, very happy with that scoreline as it is. So it's Leicester City 1, Newcastle 0. Okazaki with the opening goal. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Yeah. It's one of them ones. Yeah. What else is there? What more can I say? Yeah, don't even know where that reference is.
You sound like you're floating on cloud 9.
No, I'm not. To be perfectly honest, hey, Leicester winning the Premier League would be good for. It'd be good for everyone, apart from Charlie Stilitano. But as I said last week, Charlie Stilitano can bugger off, considering what he was saying. He can bugger off. But yeah, it is one of them ones where, in terms of results, kind of threw me off a touch. Chelsea 1, Paris Saint-Germain 2, aggregate 4-2 to Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah, it is one of them ones in the battle of the wallets. Looks like hey, Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain outspent you, and they did it better. They did exactly what you did and did it better. But that's none of my business. As I sip a can of Dr. Pepper. I wish it was Lipton, I really do. But yeah, in the inaugural. Pepper. So misunderstood. And there's a dated reference. Some will only remember that as what's the worst that can happen. Worst that can happen is that you get sugar rush and get really hyper. France women 0, England 0 in the inaugural She Believes Cup. Was also another result, as well as the England Lionesses. All hope of any real hope of the England Lionesses being in with a shout of winning it actually came to an end in this game. Little lackluster as a game, but it is one of them ones. But no, the England Lionesses actually did really, really well generally in the She Believes Cup anyway. But Thursday, 10th of March 2016, UEFA Europa League round of 16. Borussia Dortmund 3, Tottenham 0. Aubameyang opened and scoring on 30 minutes. Marco Reus, or as everyone's been saying, Rolls Royce, scripted ad-libs, scored on 61 minutes and 70 minutes as well. Tottenham really put to the sword in this one. They paid for making those, I think it was 7 to 8 changes. They really, really paid for it. I mean, you got to be at full strength to do anything against against Dortmund. So on them was looks like that tie is done. But Basel 0, Sevilla 0. Nzonzi was booked on 75 minutes, sent off on 87 minutes. Delicately poised there. There's a couple of ties in the Europa League that have actually delicately poised. Fenerbahce won Sporting Braga 0. Topal getting the only goal of the game on 82 minutes. Shakhtar Donetsk 3, Anderlecht 1. Tyson scoring on 21 minutes. And yeah, it has to be said in that way, the kind of D-double-E voice. Tyson! It's like Tyson on 21 minutes. What's his name? Tyson. We're not Mike Tyson, not by M. Bison, it's Tyson. I've heard that tune a couple of times and it's just funny. But anyway, Kucha got the second goal on 24 minutes. Achempong scored on 68 minutes, and Eduardo scored on 79 minutes. Athletic Bilbao won Valencia 0. Raul Garcia with the only goal of the game on 28 minutes. Pretty damn good header as well. Very delicately poised in that one. Valencia actually don't have the best record this season against Athletic Bilbao. I think they've been beaten. That's like their third straight defeat against Bilbao. And I think that was the draw that neither of them really wanted. When the last 16 draw was made. But hey, speaking of a draw that was, well, maybe not wanted by some, but it was a draw that I was actually hoping for. Liverpool v Man United. First time these two teams have ever met in Europe. And the first leg, advantage Liverpool. Liverpool 2, Manchester United 0. That's Liverpool 2, Manchester United 0. That's Liverpool 2, Manchester United 0. Second leg to take place on Thursday, 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day. Well, that was. Man United actually now have to win it 3-0 to go through. Daniel Sturridge opened the scoring from the penalty spot on 20 minutes after it was one of them was Nathaniel Klein was upended. It was upended by Memphis Depay, who got wrong side, started pulling Klein from outside the box, and then clipped his heels as he went inside, and the picture showed that the referee and the linesman got it right. Referee took his time to make the decision, but the linesman was on that side anyway. So, hell, it's one of them was stonewall penalty. But chance after chance after chance, chances came, chances went. De Gea saved again. Possession ended up as what was it? 70? Something like 77 to 23% possession in Liverpool's favour. It was one of them ones. It was nuts. But Firmino on 73 minutes, after one of the dirtiest skills of the season, even Adam Lallana was getting in on that act as well. He was running the show from midfield. But it's one of them was Roberto Firmino scored on 73 minutes. Henderson offside in the build-up. He was, no doubt. But there was a lot of football played after that. And United didn't clear their lines. Don't know what Michael Carrick, a.k.a. the poor man Xabi Alonso, was trying to do. But he botched. And Michael Carrick, for that botch, deserves the rating of
-5 stars.
For sure. Because a lot of Man United fans were probably going,
tell me I did not just see that.
They probably were thinking that. And Rashford ending up playing at right back at certain points. Well, a lot of United fans have been saying about Louis van Gaal, the same as what some Arsenal fans have said about Arsene Wenger.
If I want any crap out of you, I'll pick it out of your teeth.
Oh, we'll leave that for a second. So, Man United have it all to do at Old Trafford in the second leg. Sparta Prague 1, Lazio 1. Friday on 13 minutes opened the scoring, but Parolo equalised on 38. Villarreal 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0. Bakambu on 4 minutes. Bakambu again on 56 minutes. Jedvaj was booked on 76 minutes, sent off on 94. Excuse me. But She Believes Cup, the inaugural She Believes Cup. It was out of USA and Germany who would win it. And the USA women took the prize, where it was USA women 2, Germany women 1. Mittag opened the scoring on 29 minutes. Alex Morgan equalized on 35 minutes. And Mewis got the winner on 41 minutes. So it is one of them ones where the inaugural She Believes Cup winners, the USA's women's national team. It is one of them ones, and congratulations to them for winning the initial She Believes Cup. One of them ones. Big time shout outs to them. So yeah, it is one of them ones. So the USA actually defeated 3 of the top 5 teams in the world. One of them ones. Morgan got the golden ball and the golden boot. Hope Solo won the golden gloves as well. And yeah, it is one of them ones. That win was that match was actually contested in front of a record crowd of 13,501 in Boca Raton, Florida. So it is one of them ones. That crowd set a new record for an all-women soccer event in South Florida, breaking the previous mark of 12,031 that watched the USA play Norway in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on February 6th, 2000. So a record that took 16 years to fall. Literally 16 years and just over a month to be exact. So it is one of them ones. The She Believes Cup, yeah, which was shown on BBC, on the BBC Red Button. So it is one of them ones. Very, very good stuff. Very, very good stuff. Yeah, it is one of them ones. I enjoyed the She Believes Cup personally. It was actually of a good standard for the best teams in the world. So it is one of them ones. Very good cup to watch. Very, very enjoyable to watch. Shifting on to Friday, 11th of March 2016, the Emirates FA Cup 6th round. Reading 0, Crystal Palace 2. Cooper opened the score. Sorry, Cooper was booked on 68, sent off on 85. Johan Cabaye scored an 86-minute penalty, and Fraser Campbell scored on 94 minutes as well. Yes, staying with the FA Cup for the moment, the Emirates FA Cup 6th round. Saturday 12th of March 2016, Everton 2, Chelsea 0. Romelu Lukaku on 77 and 82 minutes scoring 2 very, very good goals. And you know what? That's what happens when you let go of quality players, and especially quality players who you never really gave a chance to. Compounding the misery of Chelsea Football Club's week brings a tear to the old glass eye. Wait a minute. No, it doesn't. But yeah, it's one of them ones, man. Romelu Lukaku coming back to haunt Chelsea, a club who never really gave him a fair shake. But Diego Costa was sent off on 84 minutes. Gareth Barry was booked on 84 minutes, sent off on 87. It is one of them ones where Diego Costa, apparently it looked for all intents and purposes to some like he bit Gareth Barry. To a couple of people I've shown it, and to me as well, it looked like he was going to, and then he thought better of it. But it is one of them was the footage wasn't that conclusive. But Gareth Barry has actually come out and said, yeah, he did not bite me. So, okay, if the victim is actually saying, yeah, he hasn't been bitten, then can't really. It's one of them was what you're going to go against the victim. So anyway, but it is one of them was staying with the FA Cup, the FA Cup quarterfinals, aka 6th round. Staying with that. Moving on to Sunday, 13th of March 2016, Arsenal 1, Watford 2. Odion Igalo opened the scoring on 50 minutes, and Adrian Guardiola added a second on 63 minutes, but Danny Welbeck scored on 88 minutes. Missed an absolute sitter as well, but it's one of them was, the holders are out, the streak is over. And we are going to have new FA Cup champions. Guaranteed now. Well, it's guaranteed. You dropped the ball again. But Man United won, West Ham won. Talking about dropping the ball, Dimitri Payet on 68 minutes with a legit goal of the week contender. Kissed the post as it went in. Beautiful free kick, it must be said, on 68 minutes. The only for me, I can tell you right now, that's not going to be my goal of the week. And my reasoning behind that is because for me, he his dive earlier in the match really took the gloss off that free kick for me. Not Paul Scholes' comments, bugger that, but it's one of them ones, man. It's sad. The diving thing, nah, not a fan of it. But anyway, Anthony Martial scored on 83 minutes to level up in that one. So, Europa League, Champions League, the FA Cup matches. The FA Cup, but I personally don't think Man United's goal should have been disallowed. It's one of them ones. Schneiderlin did not. I think it was Schneiderlin or Schweinsteiger. It's one of them ones. He did not need to get out of the way. If a goalkeeper wants to get someone out of the way, they can. It's one of them ones. That's the way I see it. It's a case of he did not need to get out of the way. It's like, oh yeah, here you go, keeper. Try and save it. No. Never thought I'd ever defend a Man United player in that way, but yeah, okay, cool. But it is one of them ones where, FA Cup quarterfinals, Europa League last 16, Champions League last 16, and also the Football League results we've mentioned so far. G-Man, you want to have your view on them first?
Yeah, why not? I guess I'm gonna have to start from way back when. On Tuesday when Arsenal beat Hull. Let's just quickly go over that. In what was a better performance by Arsenal, not prestige. In a fixture that again we were expecting, to see Arsenal come through. Took quite a long time to break down the rigid Hull defensive unit. But it was good to see Oliver Giroud and Theo Walcott getting on the goal sheet. Both of them haven't. Well, Giroud, I don't think had scored in like 10, 12 matches. Theo Walcott for a long while as well. So it was good to see them get on the goal sheet. Joel Campbell had a very impressive game, it was just a very, I think it was a solid performance, one which was much needed, but doesn't really count for nothing. If we just quickly skip to Sunday, because having, made it through to the next round, the 6th round against Watford, was especially with another home tie gifted to Arsenal, you was really expecting. And I'm not saying to go on to win the game, but, a really fierce performance to actually prove all the critics, the doubters, the haters, the moaners, the jousters, whatever you want to call them. You was expecting Arsenal to really come out and, take the game in between the teeth and really have a chomp at it. But that never happened. And, from kickoff, have it, and I was there from kickoff. It was, it was a semi good atmosphere, not the greatest, so I can't complain about that because there was a lot of belief inside the place. But the way Arsenal started was a team who was, so that same sort of mentality, a team that was at 1-0, 2-0 ahead. They're just coasting. They're just, there was no form of intensity that we saw. Arguably in the last 5 minutes of the game when we're chasing it, we're losing 2-0. As you said, Agallo scoring on the 50th minute, it was somewhat of a soft goal that came out of nothing just at the start of the second half. It was really unexpected because, Watford really and truthfully had offered nothing in the first half. Arsenal had countless amount of good chances. El Neni had 2 or 3 that he could have bagged, but his shots were just way off point. It was like as if he was playing American football. But to his credit, at least he was taking shots. Our forward line in Giroud, there wasn't much movement there. Ozil wasn't really in the game for me. Also, I was a little concerned that Arsene Wenger decided to rest Monreal and Bellerin because I think them 2 players alone, they add an extra attacking presence and a defensive presence on as fullback. So, for me personally, I'll play them
every time that I feel that they're fit. And at the end of the day, as long as they ain't got injuries, they're fit in my eyes. So this rotation nonsense really has been our downfall this season, is what I believe. But credit to all credit's got to go to that second goal by Doria, because
nearly took the goal off his hinges.
potentially my goal of the week, but it was special. That was, like you said, it nearly took the roof off the net. But that was a strike that I don't think any goalkeeper would have been able to save. I
guess that's why Mertesacker didn't want to get in the way of it, because it's one of them. Because you look at when that ball was laid off for Guardiola, you can instantly see what he was going to do, and it's almost like Mertesacker was like, "Nah, I can see what you're about to do, and I ain't getting in the way of it," because he did not move to close it down. He just looked and like just put his head out of the way and was like, "Nah, mate, I know what's coming, and I ain't getting in the way of it." Which, as a defender myself, that is embarrassing. That is legitimately embarrassing. I watched that goal, and as a defender, I was like, "Oh my word!" He has literally just watched that and tried to do nothing about it. Especially considering down at South Bank Quarco this week, the goal that we conceded, the Ibis Eagles 5s, more on that later. the goal that we conceded, it was one of them ones where I had literally flung my body in the way to block it, got the block in, and it just so happened to fall to their striker who put it away. Yeah. And it was one of them ones, I was fuming about that, but I would be even more fuming if a dude moved out of the way. For me as a defender, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones. Again, I'm going to lead it back to something I've been saying for the last, since the whole game in the original leg before the replay, where the desire, there's been a lack of desire and hunger shown by these Arsenal players, and I've heard a lot of people talk about their confidence is low. No. The confidence is not low, because, like I said, in the last 5 minutes, it was one of those performances by Arsenal where Arsene Wenger made that from my personal view, again, on the 63rd minute, he had to make changes. He made those changes. Some argue, why didn't he make it on the 50th? But he went all guns blazing on the 63rd. He threw on 3 substitutions, bringing on Walcott, Welbeck, and I thought he took off Lenny. I can't remember who else he brought on. It's irrelevant now. But, because, both those players, barely had any juice on the match, because it was Welbeck who had the greatest impact, as you said, when he scored in the 88th minute. Could have scored again, and off-footed. Can't really blame Welbeck for missing that, and he could have scored. He could have scored 2 great chances. The other one where he was running through on goal and he just had a heavy touch and he couldn't poke it in the direction of the goalkeeper. And the most frustrating thing is the intensity and the desire only showed up in the last 5 minutes of the game. For me, that is disgusting. Again, I'm not defending Arsene Wenger, but these players, they need some serious criticism, because to show up in a game of that caliber and not apply yourself is criminal. It's criminal. But I won't hang on for that too long.
Yeah.
As I have done. But have a great result. So but us going out, to be honest, has made the FA Cup look very tasty. That might sound a little weird, Man United and West Ham result. Honestly, I'll be rooting for West Ham in the second leg of this replay. Yeah. It was a great match, Man United and West Ham. West Ham, for me, they should have gone on to win it. But like yourself, I really don't see any issues with the pen that wasn't given and the pen that was given. And, Man United's Martial stepped up, saved their blushes.
Yeah. Yeah, them last-minute goals.
Everton, Chelsea, you know, that one, to be honest, if you're going by form, was, you know, if you're going by form, and this is the key thing about this season, not a lot of people are looking at the form tables because of where certain teams are. They're just going on by histories and trophies won and results. And this season has totally been about form. It's got nothing to do with how much money you've got or your history. It's all about form. And if you're looking at form, Chelsea aren't in the greatest of form, you know, and you could be like, those 2 goals by Lukaku, especially the second one, great take on his weaker foot, you know, brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't know what to say about Chelsea. They just haven't been that same Chelsea from last season.
Yeah,
they just haven't been that same solid side that had, you know, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it is one of them ones where it's like, again, Chelsea haven't had that stability this season, and they've legitimately been architects of their own demise this season. So it's one of them ones where it's like where yeah, I mean it is one of them ones where they've legitimately been architects of their own demise, and they've been poor. At times they've been poor. They've had a couple of false dawns. I mean, against Paris Saint-Germain, I just found that hilariously ironic. That result was hilariously ironic for me because it's like, the team one of the teams who followed the benchmark of what you did 13 years ago, came back and beat you. Tremendous. Toast to that. I love that. But I mean, the FA Cup semi-finals draw was made actually earlier today. We may as well mention that whilst we're talking about the FA Cup results. The ties are to be played on the weekend of April 21st/24th at Wembley. Everton v Man United or West Ham, and Crystal Palace versus Watford in the semi-finals. The date of the replay between Man United and West Ham is actually dependent on the second leg of Man United's Europa League match with Liverpool. So obviously United are waiting on the result of that. So it's one of those. It's going to be interesting to see when that's played. But yeah, I mean, the semi-finals are shaping up actually quite nice. I mean, imagine Everton, West Ham, Crystal Palace v Watford. At the beginning of the season, you wouldn't have predicted those 4 sides, Everton, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Watford, to potentially be in the FA Cup semi-final, let alone the final. Man United, you might have predicted at the beginning of the season, but it's going to be very, very interesting. And potential, and really and truly, actually, if you look at it, we are potentially for pitch talk at the FA Cup final this year, we're guaranteed to meet a new set of fans. We're actually guaranteed it. Could be 2 sets of new fans. I mean, if Man United end up going through to the finals, then we've met some Man United fans before. But Crystal Palace and Watford, it's one of them ones we are actually guaranteed to meet a new set of fans on that day, which I think is Saturday, May 21st, which actually, unfortunately, clashes with the end of season do at Ibis Eagles as well. More information on that is going to be forthcoming later on in the season. So it is one of them. May 21st can be very, very interesting. God, I've got to say that no matter who's in the final. But yeah, it is one of them ones. You know what, yeah? The Skypers did want to jump in as well on this point. So let's roll into, it's one of them was Ryan Sonley. You wanted to jump in on the FA Cup, Europa League, Champions League, and the Football League results we've mentioned so far.
What a mouthful that is. Yeah, I'm going to jump in on...
What did you just say? Family show, ain't it?
I'll jump in on Middlesbrough versus Rotherham. With all this Karanka issue, I was not assured that this was actually going to be a win. I mean, they had gone through a bad spell. I mean, we've only won 3 games out of the last 11 games that we've played. So, I mean, good, well done to Rotherham for getting that win. And I'm going to talk about Liverpool versus Man U. Do I have to mention their name? Liverpool, top class. They deserve the 2-0 lead, and hopefully LJA can have a special birthday by celebrating a Liverpool victory on Thursday. I'm going to mention about the FA Cup. I'm going to mention about Watford versus Arsenal. I thought Watford were the better side by far. Arsenal just looked down and out until the 88th minute where Welbeck actually scored. But, Igalo played well. Troy Deeney, who's an Arsenal fan, played well. Overall, Watford deserved that for me. I'm going to mention about the Man U West Ham game. I thought Man U were lucky to get a replay from this because West Ham looked like they were too strong. West Ham have beaten the top 4 sides technically in the division, in the league. So I thought West Ham deserved to go through, and I hope they do beat Man U in the replay whenever it will be played.
It'd be one of them ones. It will be interesting if United do get beaten in the replay because, hey, West Ham are looking to bow out of the Berlin ground in style. And an FA Cup win, it would be one of them ones. It would make it, and if Leicester won the Premier League as well, it really would make it a season of fairy tales coming true, to be perfectly honest. It really would make it that way. It's one of them ones. They might make it. West Ham might make it. West Ham. West Ham. Don't ask about that reference. It's one of them ones. Someone's gonna be like, "What the hell was he talking about?" But it's one of them ones where FA Cup's shaping up nicely. I like it. If United get dumped out by West Ham, it shapes up even better. One of them was that and the Europa. By the way, Leicester City won Newcastle 0 as a half-time result as well. Okazaki with the only goal of the game so far on 25 minutes. But yeah, it is one of them ones. Throwing back to the Skype as Russ Vernon, you wanted to jump in on some of the games we've mentioned so far.
I did, Liam. Before I do, I'll just say happy birthday for Thursday, mate. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yes. And now jumping into the games from the week, starting off last Tuesday, Cardiff City Stadium had a fantastic result for Leeds United. Not won at Cardiff since 1984 up until now, and there was two fantastic goals from Dakara and Antonucci. Breakaway from Antonucci, played in Dakara, simple finish from the edge of the box to put Leeds 1-0 up, and then a fantastic run from Antonucci for his goal as well, which was a fantastic finish across the keeper in injury time. And it was a fantastic game of football. I've watched the full match of this last week on our TV channel, and I must say it was a definite red card for Fabio De Silva for a second bookable offence. Both yellow cards, in my opinion, were bookings. On to Rotherham United against Middlesbrough now, and I must say that was a fantastic game. I was speaking to my cousin. He said Middlesbrough had the chances but just couldn't finish, and it was a fantastic goal from Lee Frecklington, position from Alfred to get sent off. But for me, it was a good goal from Frecklington. He took it well, and for me, when I've seen Rotherham this season, he's been one of their better players as Frecklington, and you could see why with that goal on Tuesday. Moving on to the Europa League now from Thursday, Liam. I'm going to have a quick say on a couple of these matches. First up, Dortmund against Tottenham. I just want to say congratulations to Dortmund. I thought they fully deserved the win. Fully deserved to get the 3-0 lead. On to Athletic Bilbao
v Valencia. So this game, Bilbao deserved to get the win. Bilbao playing much better than Valencia. Shocking stuff from Ginev's Valencia side there. On to your boys against Jesse's boys, Liverpool v Man United. And I think Liverpool deserve that win, Liam. Like they said, Lancers, which I'm reading on the Sky Sports app, Liverpool overpowered United and they deserved the win, definitely. A penalty for the clip on by Memphis on Nathaniel Klein. And it was a fantastic goal as well from Firmino. And I think for me, Liam, so I don't know if you agree. I think Firmino has been one of your better players for me this season so far with his performances and his goals in the.
Well, he is our top scorer. He is our top scorer with 9 goals, so that wouldn't be telling tales out of school, to be honest.
In the Emirates FA Cup, Liam, I thought Crystal Palace played well against Reading. I thought Everton. Well, I saw this game when I got back from Rotherham v Derby on Saturday. I thought Everton deserved to beat Chelsea. I saw both games yesterday, Arsenal against Watford and Man United v West Ham. I thought Watford fully deserved the win. For me, I think Arsenal didn't look like they were going to score for me, but I must say it was a good goal from Welbeck in 88 minutes. And then, like I said, Liam, I can't believe he missed that sit out. I was watching, I thought, he's going to be 2-2 here, and then I thought, how has he missed that? You would have put your money on him to score that one, and I must say, fantastic free kick from Dimitri Payet for West Ham. And I hope Man United got lucky in that one, and West Ham deserved to go through with overall performances. And so, Jesse, 2 bad results for me from Man United, and I don't think you'll get past West Ham at the Bowling Ground. I don't think you'll get through against Liverpool either. So I think your season is going to end now.
You know what? Yeah, I want to come back to that Welbeck opportunity. I mean, I watched it earlier, and it was a case of someone tried to point out to me that one of that Henderson's effort that he skied over in front of that he actually narrowly missed in front of the cop end was an easy opportunity. It was one of them. Was both of those opportunities. I mean, the Welbeck one being on the swivel as well made it difficult. Same with Henderson's one, where I think it was Evans closing him down. It's one of them. Was those opportunities are not as easy as people people think. But it's one of them ones where it's like, I mean, United have it all to do in both games. I mean, essentially at Old Trafford, they've got to beat us 3-0. No ifs, no buts, 3-0. 2-2 takes it to extra time. But it's one of them. The fact of the matter is they've got to beat us 3-0. And United not conceding, well, they were lucky not to concede more against us last week. We dominated. I mean, Liverpool, we dominated United. And it was surprised. I was surprised. I think, in the words of the G-Man, Liverpool were bullying Man United in that first half. And it was like, whew, never actually seen that before. I mean, we've seen Liverpool do it to Arsenal, but never seen it happen done to Man United before. Where it's just like out-and-out bullying and should have had more goals. I mean, Coutinho had an absolute sitter, took with his right foot, really should have went with his left. And it's like, no, go. I would love to criticize him for it, but I would do exactly the same thing. It's part of the reason how I got my ACL, how I tore my ACL. The fact of the matter is, going into a tackle with my left leg when I really should have went with my right. So it happens. Stuff happens. So, hell, I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, Kieran Riley, you wanted to jump in on some of the results we've mentioned so far, didn't you?
Yes, they certainly do. It's generally obviously the 2 Wolves games that have happened this week, which I have both attended because they've both been at home. Starting off with Tuesday night's game against Bristol City.
Well, I was going to say, let's stick with that one first because we still have yet to mention the weekend's results as well.
Yeah, okay. Start off with Tuesday then. Quite good, decent game, end-to-end football. Fantastic first goal. Well, it was a bit of a stumble first goal for us. I wasn't expecting that to go in, but luckily Byrne got tripped over, and obviously that gave us the first goal. Best to hold off for as long as possible. Then the tallest player on Bristol City, I am shocked at how big he is. He's like That's the same height as Peter Crouch.
I was gonna say the big slow. I mean, sorry, the big shot.
Yeah, Mr. Flint, he's a tank. He's a beast. He's massive. He obviously got that second goal for them. It was a brilliant goal. Then, obviously, near the end of the game, got boring. So a lot of us decided to leave. Then I stayed for the last couple of minutes. I was watching it in the stand, and that free kick. Oh, that was a beautiful delivery to Doherty's head. That was an absolutely beautiful free kick. And I must say that will be probably my goal of the week contender, because that was just beautiful. I don't know whether you see it. Did you see it, Liam? Did you watch it?
I personally have had quite a busy week, so I haven't had a chance to see it.
Yeah, go onto the Wolves page and have a look at it, because it was. Oh, I loved it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
Beautiful. But yep, that's all I've pretty much got to say. It was a decent game. We'll be back in it to talk about Saturday.
Definitely. It is one of them ones where we also had JBK who wanted to get involved in the conversation so far. JBK, have at it.
Yeah, how's everybody doing?
All good, man. All good. All good. Are you cool, man? Are you yeah? Or are you yeah? Or you know?
Well, I had a bit of an emotional weekend in terms of I had a final in Roehampton University with the team that I'm coaching with, and I've got to say it came back to the referees come back to kind of prove my point last week when I gave them flop of the week, and I've been a bit emotionally drained for the last 2 days and still wondering how we lost. Although it was against the RAF, but still. Putting that aside, the games that actually happened professionally, Arsenal against Watford, quite proud of the Hornets. I think it was written on the cards when Arsenal failed to beat Hull in the first game. And as much as people will probably say we did beat them 4-0 in the second game, well, we lost one of our best players. And I haven't really, but I think somebody actually pointed it out that because Ramsey went wide, we've actually lost a lot more goals than we did when he was in the side. And it was in the centre of midfields where Ozil is. As much as Ozil has done a lot in the midfield for assists, he's not really scored, whereas Ramsey has. So that pretty much proves my point. Going back onto the Chelsea game against PSG, against Everton, they were just going on the fact that they needed another game to kind of put them in a better position for Europe. They've obviously gone out. PSG kind of proved to a lot of people that there is a good reason for a plan, considering that they've been working on it for the last 5 years, even though they've been buying everybody out, but they've been working on it for the last 5 years to try and get into maybe even Champions League, into the Champions League final, like Juve did. In terms of the other games in the league, in the Premier League, when it comes to Man City, yes, they had a stumble block, but I still think, as I said on Mike's Facebook status, I said they've still got a chance to come third, if not come first.
Well, you know what? Well, in regards to that, we are going to mention the weekend's result. Actually, you know what? We might as well actually mention the weekend's results now. Actually, now that you bring it up, because we have alluded to it a good couple of times. I mean, from the kind of take take these in kind of a mishmash of an order. Saturday, 12th of March 2016, you got Norwich 0, Manchester City 0, Bournemouth 3, Swansea 2. Max Gradle doing what he would never have had the opportunity to do with Leeds, and that's playing the Premier League. Sorry, Russ, but it's fact. But it's one of them ones that he scored on 37 minutes. Barrow equalised on 39 minutes. Josh King scored on 50 minutes. Gylfi Sigurdsson scored a quality goal on 62 minutes, but Cook scored on 78 minutes to win it for Bournemouth. Man United Crystal Palace was postponed because the FA Cup. Same with Sunderland, Everton, West Ham, Watford, Arsenal, West Brom, and also Chelsea v Liverpool was supposed to happen on Sunday as well. But yeah, Sky Bet Championship. Just gonna whiz through these results. Blackburn 1, Leeds 2. Sol Bamba scoring on 34 minutes and Miko Antonucci scoring on 69 minutes. Jackson got one back on 89 minutes for Blackburn. Bolton 1, Preston 2. Trotter opened the scoring on 22 minutes, but Hugh Gill scored on 57 and Vermigel scored on 86 minutes to give Preston the win. Cardiff 1, Ipswich 0. Ekuele Manga scoring on 18 minutes. Fulham 1, Bristol 2. McCormack on 3 minutes. Pack on 69 minutes, equalising, and Lee Tomlin getting the winner for Bristol City. Huddersfield 1, Burnley 3. Ward on 14. Vokes on 30. Ben Mee in first half stoppage time, but Lolly scored the consolation for Huddersfield on 44 minutes. Hull 1, MK Dons 1. K opening the scoring on 51 minutes. Klukas equalising on 53, and that's how it stayed. For Nottingham Forest 0, Sheffield Wednesday 3. Aidan McGeady scoring on 30 minutes. Hooper on 62. Barry Bannon was sent off on 65, and Silva Lopez Matias scored on 85 minutes. QPR 3, Brentford 0, a true West London derby. If you don't believe me, that's a true West London derby. Just look at the postcodes, no S in front of it. But anyway, leaving that aside, Junior Hoylett on 38 minutes. Poulter on 66 minutes and Cherry scoring on 71 minutes. Rotherham 3, Derby 3. Ince, Martin and Ince again on 55, 63, 65. But Ward, best, 83, 85, and 91 minutes. Sky Bet League 1, Barnsley 0, Southend 2. Big shouts to Tom Wood, who is one of the PT family. Massive shout outs to him. Very happy with that result. Barnsley 0, Southend 2. Payne on 4 minutes. Timlin on 96 minutes. You couldn't space those goals much further apart. Blackpool 0, Coventry 1. Fortune with the only goal of the game on 26. Bradford 2, Doncaster 1. Proctor on 7, and again on 49 minutes. Nathan Tyson scored a consolation for Doncaster on 90 minutes. Burton 2, Fleetwood Town 1. Duffy on 26, Burns on 47, Duffy on 63. Grant was sent off for Fleetwood on 67. Chesterfield 1, Walsall 4. O'Connor with an own goal scoring on 19 minutes to give Chesterfield the lead. And Anderson own goal equalised on 35 minutes with an own goal. Mantum on 57 minutes. Donahue was sent off for Chesterfield on 61 minutes. Hiwula Mayafulia scored on 71 minutes, and Mantum scored again on 75 minutes. Colchester 3, Wigan 3. Wildshut scored on 36 minutes. Gilby equalised on 40 minutes. Colclough scored on 44 minutes. Lee equalised on 50 minutes. Moncur gave Colchester the lead on 60, and Will Grigg equalised on 90 minutes. Gillingham 3, Crew 0. Samuel on 12. Guthrie own goal on 61 minutes, and Wright scored on 92. Peterborough 2, Port Vale 3. Peterborough opened the scoring with Taylor on 2 minutes. Williams on 41. Moore got one back for Port Vale on 49 minutes. Hooper equalised on 86. Dodds won it on 89. Rochdale 3, Bury 0. Mendes Lang scoring on 11 and 17, and Eastham scoring on 53. Sheffield United 3, Oldham 0. Brayford on 10. Flynn on 21. Sharp on 77. Shrewsbury 2, Scunthorpe 2. Kai on 21. Wooten equalised on 69. Paddy Madden gave Scunthorpe the lead on 78 minutes, and Akpro scored on 95 minutes to level that one up. Swindon 2, Millwall 2. Gregory on 6 minutes. Morrison on 11. Jose got one back on 63 minutes for Swindon, and Doty equalised on 94 24 minutes. Jumping down into Sky Bet League 2. Accrington 2, Plymouth 1. Jervis opened the scoring on 23 minutes. Mello was sent off on 85 minutes. Key scored a penalty on 85, and McClaren won it on 93. Sorry, Ryan. Sorry about your luck. Bristol Rovers 1, Mansfield 0. Taylor with the only goal of the game on 61 minutes. Exeter 2, Carlisle 2. Stockley on 7. White equalised on 27. Wheeler on 79. Hope on 85. Hartlepool 3. Dagenham and Redbridge 1. Billy Painter a penalty on 4 minutes. Carroll on 14. Cash got one back for Dagenham and Redbridge. Turned out that was just consolation because Gray scored on 53 minutes. Luton 0, Crawley Town 1. Battle of the Towns right there. But Harold on 12 minutes gave all 3 points to Crawley Town with the only goal of the game. Morecambe 2, Wimbledon 1. Sweeney was sent off on 79 minutes, but that was after Fleming had scored on 76, got booked on 77. Devitt scored a penalty on 80 minutes, and we're not talking we're not talking about Jerry McDevitt, the lawyer of the WWE at one point. But anyway, Frankham scored on 90 minutes. Wimbledon's consolation. Northampton 1, Cambridge 1. Marquise on 71 minutes for Northampton. Spencer equalised on 91 minutes for Cambridge. Oxford United 0, Leyton Orient 1. Joby McAnuff with the only goal of the game on 74 minutes. Baudry was sent off on 93 minutes. Portsmouth 0, Newport 3. Jones on 34. Bowden on 69, and Morgan on 87. Roberts was actually booked on 53, sent off on 59. Wickham 1, Stevenage 0. Mr. Harniman, sorry about your luck too. O'Neill scoring the only goal of the game on 70 minutes. Yeovil 1, Notts County 0. Big T, sorry about your luck. We've got to throw them T's up. Here's one of them with Zoko with the only goal of the game on 50 minutes. York 1, Barnet 1. Alessandra on 20 minutes. Akinde equalised on 37 minutes for York. And on Sunday, it is one of them was Wolves 0, Birmingham 0 in the Championship. Charlton 2, Middlesbrough 0. A game tinged because their mock funeral before the match. Apparently the soul of the club is being ripped out by the owners of Charlton Athletic, and the fans have not been happy about this for a while. This has been rumbling on for a while that Charlton, I think it was Brad Hicks who actually originally brought this to our attention a couple months ago. But yeah, the beach balls being chucked onto the pitch, it was one of them ones. That's a creative way of protesting, I gotta say. But yeah, it's one of them was Charlton ended up getting the win. But it was one of them was Tichera on 57 minutes and Harriet on 80 minutes. So oddly enough, that protest might have done a bit good. As weird as it is to say. But yeah, it is one of them ones. So that's where we're going to stay. Jaymie Bailey, if you... oh, wait, hold on. One thing we do have to... No. Yep. Aston Villa 0, Tottenham 2 from Sunday, 13th of March, 2016. Kane on 45 and 48 minutes as well. So... one that was. Jaymie Bailey, did you want to continue with your point, because you were mentioning about Manchester City and them dropping the ball by not being able to score against Norwich, and Norwich almost stole it at one point.
Yeah, it was a decent result for Norwich, although they're in the same position as most of the teams at the bottom now. Just conceding and not able to score at the same time, and it's starting to look like a 4-horse race with Sunderland, Newcastle, Villa, and Norwich. So whoever's going to go down, good luck to them for coming back up. Overall, I think the game against Manchester City for Norwich. The Man City, it was almost like they were preparing more for the Champions League last 16, and that maybe he's not going to pick the same sort of players, but that depends on them. I still think because they've got a game in hand against Newcastle, and Newcastle aren't doing exactly too well. The only other team that Man City have to kind of worry about is Manchester United and the other team that they got again, and us, yeah. And based on the form of both teams between us and Man City, that could be a dead rubber. So it will leave it down to maybe if there's a draw in that one, both of us are not going to win it. If Man City get it, they have another chance. If we win it, we'll probably have another chance, but very slim. And in terms of the rest of the results, Bournemouth say, like Eddie Howe was right in what he said. We still got games to go, and there's still big matches that we have to compete in. So really and truly, have we secured our safety? No, we'll secure it when the last game of the season is over. So I would agree with what he said there, and I think that's the way that football really needs to go for the rest of the season. I did mention something about the league being very good, but really and truly it's not. It's inconsistent, and the only other league that I can think of which is decent enough is the German league. There is consistency and there is a lot of fight between all the teams. Maybe the Spanish league in terms of the way that they play, but as far as I've noticed, when it comes to the leagues and what they are, especially the cups, you can see who the better teams are. Especially in the Champions League and the Europa League, you can see who the better nations are when it comes to their teams. So, in terms of all the games that have been played this weekend, I hope that they've a lot of teams have learned from their lessons if they've lost, and the ones that have won, I hope that they continue to kind of build on their successes for the rest of the season. And who knows what the Euro 2016 will come with as well.
I mean, it's going to be an interesting little title running. Hey, whether it be the Premier League, whether it be the playoff positions in the Football League, I'm looking forward to this running. I really am. It's going to be interesting because nothing's for sure. Nothing really is for sure. That's the good thing. I mean, speaking of the Championship, Kieran Riley, you wanted to jump in on the Wolves game from the weekend, didn't you?
Yes, I certainly did. Wolves versus Birmingham City.
You just reminded me there of Jim Cornette when he was asked, "Have you ever been to the Heart Attack Grill in Arizona?" Yes.
Well, it was a big ding-dong derby. Wolves versus Birmingham City FC. Must say, decent start to the first half for Wolves. It was good end-to-end football, 50% possession each side, good couple of chances each way. Absolutely brilliant. Came to the second half. I have no idea what Kenny Jackett said to the Wolves the team in the dressing rooms, because the second half, I know Russ was watching the game. He'll probably agree with this. We played shockingly bad in the second half. It was tough. The amount of chances we threw away, and also the amount of chances Birmingham had and missed. I am surprised we didn't lose that game 4 or 5-0, because it was just shocking. The team Kenny put out for that game was utter. The striking force was utter. I'm not going to say the word I was about to say. Sigurdarsson, he can't shoot, run, pass, header, or even intercept the ball at all. Joe Mason was on the bench the whole game. Didn't come out for 5 minutes until the last 5 minutes of the game. We couldn't do anything with him. Michael Zira as well. He was just left on the bench until the start of the second half. If we hadn't have played Sigurdarsson at the start and played Mason, Zyro and Byrne all up front, we would have won that game, because those three, when they're together, are a good striking force. I must say, Birmingham's team did have a good defence. They were working hard. Apart from the rivalry kicked in, and also Birmingham fans kicked off at us within 10 seconds of the match kicking off. They're already kicking off our players, but it's some local rivalries, and it's going to happen. But overall, I'm going to say that game was good. Kenny Jackett made some poor decisions with the players. We were literally demanding and singing for Mason to come on. If he had brought Mason on, played him at the start, or played him at the start of the second half, we would have won that game. For example, start the second half, there's not 20 seconds in to the game, Michael Zyra almost scored for us. He came within an inch of the goal, and that was 20 seconds from kickoff. That just proves to Jackett that we have a striking force that he needs to put on the pitch. Fair play, they've both just come back from injury. But, you know, it's one of as you say, it's one of them ones where he's made a poor decision. We've obviously got really peed off with it. Birmingham were happy because obviously we didn't win. But if we would have won that, we would have been able to push for the playoffs, and we would have ruined Birmingham's chances. But see, can you put out a rubbish team as usual? But there's nothing wrong to say about the game. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant game, good end-to-end football. But where are the goals? We need the goals. We need the wins. Come on, Kenny, sort yourself out.
Well, you sold Bennett. You sold Bennett Kofobi, so it's one of them ones. He's banging in goals.
I don't care about him anymore.
It's one of them ones. So I know you sold your prized assets. So, all right. But you know what? But Russ Vernon, you wanted to jump in on some of the weekend's games as well.
Yes, Liam. I'll first and foremost jump in on Leeds United away at Blackburn. Listened to this before I went off to the New York Stadium on Saturday. And I must say, Leeds, because I've seen the full match back since then, watched it last night, and I must say it was a fantastic game. Leeds deserved to win. First 15 minutes or so, Blackburn was on top for us, on top of us, and creating the more chances. Really spelt was in of the first half. Goal, fantastic goal from our central defender, Sol Bamba. Scoring from a corner. I can't remember last time we actually scored from a corner this season. I think last time we scored from a corner was when we played Fulham, I think, early on in the season. I think he was. And then another fantastic goal from Mirko Antonucci, 2 in a week for him. Is his goal against Blackburn my goal of the week? Stay locked to your Monday Night Footballing Fix to find that out later on in the show. Moving on now to the one where I was at on Saturday afternoon, Rotherham United versus Derby County. Derby, first half, should have been 3-4-0 up with the chances they had. Danny Collins, I don't know why he's back in the side for Rotherham. Yes, Alfred was suspended, and Wood was going knock. But if Stephen Kelly can play there, and you've got Mason Moore, a youngster who's doing well, you could have put him and they've got Lewis Buxton who can play right back. Could put Lewis Buxton in a right back, put Stephen Kelly in a central defence, and that defence would have been better for Rotherham, in my opinion. Liam, and Paul defending for the goals in the second half. Two from Tom Ince and one from Chris Martin. Martin missed a glorious chance as well on 69 minutes before he actually scored. And blazed it wide of the back post when he should have tapped it in. Brilliant comeback though. Danny Ward saw that fantastic ball through from Grant Ward to set him up. And then Leon Best scored 2 right in front. All the goals for Rotherham were right in front of the end where I was. And I must say it was a fantastic game. And there was one family who went onto the New York Stadium pitch after the first goal from Danny Ward. And the stewards let him go back into the stands because if he did it again, they would have got police onto him, but they let him go back into the stands with being nearly at the end of the game to finish. And he actually called Leon Best when celebrating his equalising goal, which was a fantastic header for me. I watched, and I must say I saw bits of the Villa game earlier today, Liam, I just watched some of the highlights, and Tottenham deserve that. 2 fantastic goals from Harry Kane. He's in fine form. He's banging in the goals. Currently watching the Leicester game at the moment, Liam. I must say it was a fantastic goal from Okazaki. Newcastle are playing some good football, but they just can't seem to get a goal. Mitrovic and Sissoko in the first half in the Leicester v Newcastle slipped and collided with each other. Canton that would have been 1-1. That was just before half time in that one. And like you said, I watched Wolves game from yesterday, Liam, against Birmingham, and I agree with him about Sigurdsson. He could not score. We need to play Zyro, we need to play Mason and Vernon. They would have won that for me, Wolves. But Kieran, if you listen back to this, I don't think you'll get playoffs nightmare.
Big talk there. Big talk. No playoffs for Wolves this year, potentially. Well, we'll see. We shall definitely see. I mean, Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in on the weekend's results that we've mentioned so far as well, didn't you?
Yeah, good evening. Right, basically, first of all, I'll start with the Stevenage game. Obviously, it was another defeat, fourth defeat in a row. And, going to Wickham isn't an easy place to go to anyway. And, we're not in any kind of form. We haven't got anything to carry over from the previous week. So, yeah, it was just with the performance. When I was listening to it sounded decent enough, but Wickham was just a little bit of a side, and the day just edged it quickly, and your luck's not going for you, it's not going for you. It's kind of as simple as that. So, yeah, two games very difficult, Oxford and Northampton again. So I can't see anything from any of them. And then we've got a massive game after that against Yeovil at home, and that's going to be each back in whether it's going to go down to a relegation scrap or not, because the way that we're at the moment, we're in sort of ball, just kind of, going down and really back downhill. And, it's even kind of been proved by something that was put out on the local radio earlier about sort of the decreased revenue and whatever as well. So, yeah, the money's not coming in, the fans are not going through the door, performances haven't really been there, and undershowing them weren't there at all. Not going. It's all kind of a bit doom and gloom at the moment, and very, very worried that we can get caught up in serious relegation.
Well, I mean, it's one of them ones where it's like the competitive nature of a lot of leagues right now is an interesting one, just purely on the basis that everything really seems to be bunching up. But it makes it interesting, though. It does make it very, very interesting. But hey, struggling for survival, when you're getting rid of managers, it's going to take time for the next managers to kind of find their feet. So
yeah, 100%. And they've even kind of said that they're looking at appointing somebody before the end of their season, and I think that's a very, very bad idea, because I think Darren's worked with the team for a number of years now. And this is Darren Sell, who's the caretaker manager at the moment. And basically, I think you just need the consistency. You need to give yourself every possible chance of survival and stability with the club. You can't be chopping and changing manager, having the transitional period when you're in a relegation fight. You just can't be doing it.
I mean, I don't think you could do it, period. Let alone in a relegation dog fight. It's one of those. You need stability to do at any level, to do anything long term. I mean, short term, yeah, you can have that fillip of a new manager or a temporary manager, but at the end of the day, you've always got to look long term and say, right, now we need to build something so we can have consistency. You can't buy consistency. You build and develop consistency, and it doesn't come overnight. That's what I think a lot of the parents
exactly right. And then we've got Mark Cooper in the stands on Saturday, who is apparently going to be taking over in the next couple of weeks. It's like, well, he's going to be taking over a club which is going to be probably more than likely on the back of 6 successive defeats. And what's he going to be able to do? He's not going to have no time to do anything. And if by some kind of miracle we kind of do stay up at the moment, then he'll end up getting all the credit for it, but he's not going to he ain't going to do anything. He's not going to have any time.
Well, speaking of that, yeah, with general talking points, hang on to that point because it's one of them ones. I would say definitely hang on to that point. But I mean, were there any of the other games you wanted to mention quickly before we have Ryan, and then we need to move on?
I watched a bit of the Charlton game. I watched a bit of that one, and I thought that was quite interesting. Looking at it from a different kind of perspective, and looking at it from like a neutral. I thought Charlton played some pretty good football as well, and obviously the fans and the protests and whatever interrupted in that as well, and kind of I thought it might have been a negative impact on them, but the players didn't really show any kind of face. They weren't phased by it at all, and they just kind of just carried on with their normal game, and I think actually upped their game as well, and kind of played better than what they have done in recent weeks. It's a bit unfortunate to see fans invading the pitch, when they scored the first goal and kind of confronting players and stuff. But I thought the game itself, I thought Charlton were very, very good, and I think if they can keep that kind of fight up, then they'll be fine. They'll end up, they'll definitely comfortably be able to survive.
I mean, that's what you always hope, though, that they will survive through triumph. It's one of them was triumphing through adversity, but no, sometimes you know. So, no, it's an interesting one to say the very least. But I mean, Ryan Sonny, you wanted to jump in as well before we move on.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in on Accrington versus Plymouth. I thought this was an awful game from both sides. I mean, we scored after 23 minutes. We went all men over. And then after there was actually a Saturday league game happening on the pitch behind the WAM Stadium. So us Argo fans that were in the terrace were actually watching that. And there was a red card, a penalty in that game as well. So, I mean, I thought the red card first was a bit dubious on Kelvin Miller. I mean, yeah, he has been making mistakes, but he's going to lose his position in the team now. It's one game, maybe even the 3 games. But hopefully Jordan Foster can come back in when fit. But got Oscar Frolko that can play there. I'm going to talk about Exeter versus Carlisle. This is probably one of the biggest talking points of League Two in the good way. Is their game after they scored, after Jaden Stockley had scored after some minutes, there was a smoke grenade and they had to evacuate the stadium. It took them just over 50 minutes to get everything sorted. And I mean, respect to Exeter and Exeter's fire, Devon and Somerset fire. So I'm proud of them to getting Exeter Carlisle game back on, which ended in a 2-each draw. The next game I'm going to talk about is Charlton versus Plymouth. Charlton versus Middlesbrough. Sorry about that. I thought, in a way, it was a poor game from Borough, but I mean, Charlton, they did cause a bit of grief. I mean, Gaston Ramirez having a shot, just about to have a shot, and he hears a whistle. Where the referee, where the players all play to the whistle. So,
of course, even at amateur league level, we're always going play whistle, play whistle. It's like Diego Costa against Norwich, play to the whistle.
It's like my team when we play, it's play to the whistle. But yesterday, we couldn't play to the whistle because there was them whistling, and the referee. I mean, he dealt with it well, but he could have at least gone to the PA announcer and said, "Could you put a PA announcer out saying, could all fans that have whistles stop whistling, please, because it does interrogate the players because Ramirez was about to shoot."
It interrogates them. I didn't know a whistle could question people. No, I'm only kidding.
Well, it questioned Ramiro's shot because he thought it was the referee's whistle.
No. I mean, it is one of them ones. I mean, that's an extremely hard thing to police, though. I mean, with kind of whistles and that. And 9 times out of 10, human instinct, when you get told to stop doing something, you just carry on. It's when you're told don't do something, you do it.
I can understand them protesting. I can understand them protesting, but either do it before a game or after the game.
Well, they did do it before the game as well with the mock funeral and getting everyone to dress in black and white to give a funereal feel. It's like it's an odd, but at the same time, very unique way of protesting.
Yeah, I thought it was appalling from them. I mean, I had to go at a Charlton fan for doing it, and he actually admitted that he weren't any of the ones doing it, and he actually was angry at the way Charlton fans were actually dealing with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some fans do go a bit far in terms of frustrations, as Arsenal fans will know. But as I said, even certain stuff like that, I just think to myself as a jaded wrestling fan, who's working who? Still think certain entities are just getting people to spit out sound bites just for the sake of it. But that's my personal opinion. So it's one of them ones. But I know you can't be sued for opinion, can you? Yeah. Anyway, but it's one of them ones. I think some people are just trying to play the game and manipulate it just for YouTube hits. But man, same time, you never know. You never know. It's an interesting one. But you know what? It is time for us to shift on. It's time for us to shift on in terms of the show. About 84 minutes gone. Leicester City 1, Newcastle United 0 is still a current score in the Premier League. So it'll give Newcastle something to think about, and Leicester City a bit more breathing space at the top if that result stays how it is. But what we're gonna do right about now is we are going to shift on to some
generally talking points. It's showtime and it is me tonight. It's showtime because this is your Monday Night Football fix. Not fixing the way FIFA would have you think it is. Why? Because this is Pitch Talk. Yeah, it is one of them ones. Yep, there's no script to those lyrics. Definitely no script there. No scripted ad-libs here. Well, no scripted ad-libs apart from the beginning of the show. But it is one of them ones where Premier League cap cost of tickets for away fans at £30. This is from March 9th, 2016. Premier League clubs have agreed plans to cap away tickets at £30 for the next 3 seasons. The cost of watching football has been a hot topic of debate, with supporters at Liverpool organising a high-profile protest over proposed increases in season ticket prices. Now the top flight's 20 clubs have unanimously agreed that more should be done to help away fans. The £30 away ticket cap will be introduced from next season. In a statement, the Premier League said the away fans were essential for match atmosphere and helped make the league unique. It is also recognised that away fans often had travel costs to pay on top of the price of a match day ticket. 8 of the 18 Premier League clubs who took part in
the BBC Price of Football study already offer away tickets for less than £30 for some matches. But the study published back in October of 2015 also found that 9 clubs charge more than £30 for their cheapest away ticket. The change is likely to see travelling supporters paying more to watch second-tier football than top-flight games next season. The Price of Football study found 13 clubs in the Championship charge 30 or more for their most expensive away tickets. The new measures will replace the Away Supporters Initiative. This was introduced in 2013 and saw clubs individually implement a range of measures, including travel subsidies, reciprocal pricing, and reduced admissions, as well as improved facilities. Now, in terms of reflecting the wishes of the fans, the Football Supporters Federation, FSF, has long campaigned for cheaper tickets and wanted prices for away fans capped at £20. There was the 20s Plenty campaign, you might remember. FSF Chief Executive Kevin Miles said his organisation was very pleased the voice of the fans has been listened to, but Labour's Shadow Minister for Sport Clive Efford said the £30 cap is still £10 above the level that fans have called for. Liverpool fans group Spirit of Shankly, who helped to successfully lead protests against a proposed price increase at Anfield earlier this season, said the away ticket cap was a very good step in the right direction. That's a very key phrase there. Spokesperson James McCann credited the Premier League's new £5 billion television deal, which starts next season, as the driver for the cap. We have been saying the price of away tickets was too much, and this new TV deal presented them with an opportunity to lower them, he said. What are the clubs saying? Everton Chief Executive Robert Elstone said the move was absolutely right for away fans and for the Premier League. He added, most clubs have recognised for some time that we need to do something for the travelling supporter. Stoke Chief Executive Tony Scott delighted with the initiative because away supporters pay a disproportionately high cost to follow their team. The away ticket price cap was announced on the same day Arsenal and Tottenham revealed ticket price freezes for home fans. The Gunners will also provide a further £4 discount for its away supporters attending Premier League matches, in addition to the £30 cap. So in the 2015-16 season, the most expensive single away match tickets in the Premier League were West Ham at £85, Arsenal at £64, Chelsea at £59, Man City at £58, Tottenham at £54, Everton at £14, and the source of that was the Price of Football study 2015. The cheapest away tickets offered by clubs were West Ham at £25, Arsenal at £26, Chelsea at £47, Man City at £42, Tottenham at £32, Everton at £36. Man United did not supply information, and Swansea did not take part in the study either. Staying on Premier League news, actually, Steve McClaren, Newcastle United sacked head coach on 11th of March 2016. There was actually a lot of speculation as to what was going to happen. There was the whole, I think it was last Monday, actually, there was the whole, right, within the next 48 hours, a decision will be made. Steve McClaren looked like he was going to be kept on, but on the 11th, he got sacked. He won just 6 of 28 Premier League games in charge of the Magpies, who were just one place off the foot of the table and will remain there because Newcastle are actually 1-0 down against Leicester City right now. McClaren and his team were booed off following last Saturday's 3-1 loss to Bournemouth at St James's Park, their third successive league defeat. They're about to have, from what it looks like, their fourth successive league defeat. But it is one of them ones. McClaren said in a statement that I remain confident that we would have stayed in the Premier League. I'm obviously disappointed with the decision. Whilst there has been a lot of intense speculation regarding my position, regarding surrounding my position over recent days, my sole priority has been to maintain my professionalism and carry on with my work to best prepare the team. For every supporter of Newcastle, I genuinely hope the club can produce the results I believe they are capable of to maintain their Premier League status. But his successor, Newcastle United appointed Rafael Benitez as the new Newcastle manager following the sacking of Steve McClaren. The former Liverpool, Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Inter Milan and Valencia boss takes over with the Magpies a point from safety with 10 games left. 9 games now. Well, almost 9 games because they're in stoppage time against Leicester right now. The Spaniard, who's 55, has signed a 3-year contract, which is understood to contain a break clause should Newcastle be relegated at the end of the season. Now, Newcastle United, Newcastle manager Rafael Benitez confirmed that he has a break clause in his contract on March 12th, 2016, should they be relegated from the Premier League this season. When asked about the clause, Benitez said, some people can see this as special, but it's in the Premier League. And if I have a compromise for the future, it's because I am convinced that we will do well. I want to stay. Sending mixed messages there. But he says, I am here because I believe these players are good enough. Benitez hailed the positive atmosphere he found at St. James's Park and praised the squad for their attitude in training. At the first moment, we wanted to train, he said. Credit to the players on their day off. They wanted to train. It was a great atmosphere. Now, Rafael Benitez, a little more to that, actually cancelled Newcastle United's day off. I think it was on Friday. And it's one of them ones where it was like, no, you ain't getting your day off. You're coming in and training, which is fair news, to be perfectly frank. Hey, you need to get to know the players, and you need to get to know the players sharpish. So it is one of them ones. But yeah, Rafael Benitez in, Steve McClaren out, and also the Premier League to cap the cost of tickets for away fans at £30. Which of the Skypers wants to jump in first? Who's jumping in first? Because I know someone will. Go on, JBK, how about both of these topics?
Just before we continue, Leicester's actually beating Newcastle 1-0. Full time just gone. Overall,
thank you very much for that, by the way. Yeah, Okazaki with the only goal of the game on 25 minutes. But yeah, Benitez in for McClaren. And that's very apropos, that result. But it's one of them ones. It shows the job that Benitez has got on. JBK, how about it?
All right, putting that to the side, putting the result to the side. Went on to Leicester, and I'm pretty sure they've got a few more games to go. Benitez coming in. His first game tonight, so I would say that he didn't really have a chance to kind of get to know his players, especially with 4 days just to kind of train them and get them ready for the game against the team at the top, especially when you're in the relegation zone, and that thing they're not really going Newcastle's way. So I don't think he really had time. I just think I just question one of his substitutions, especially tonight. Although it was for the right intentions, I think it was still questionable. Steve McClaren has had that same reputation wherever he's gone. He's a great coach, but not a good manager. And it followed him into Derby, and he got them into the playoff final. And I knew QPR were going to win that. I was at that game, and I knew they were going to win it. And I actually called it a few same night as the playoff final. Like QPR are going to win it 1-0, and behold, they did with a last-minute goal. But I just didn't know what was going to really. I don't know, with McClaren, you're pretty much digging yourself into a grave. And McClaren really should have brought in Glenn Hoddle, because when they were at QPR had no problems. The only thing that they had a problem with was probably Harry Redknapp and whatever he had done at Portsmouth and Spurs. The rest of them, again, I don't really know why they went with what they did at Newcastle, but that's just them in general. With these tickets now, brilliant. Why is it taking so long though? It was bound to happen. Yes, it's £30, but why is it taken until Liverpool basically said we're not going to put our prices higher for the Premier League to kind of kick into gear and say, well, we'll back what Liverpool are saying. Yes, they are the biggest club in the country by far in terms of history and everything else. They are the biggest club in the country, but as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't have taken for the biggest club in the country to kind of make the Premier League find a way to kind of help the fans stay on board. And that's what really is shocking, is that it's taken for somebody like even with Arsenal again. Arsenal putting their prices up to 1,200 for a match day ticket, not for a match day ticket, for a season ticket, and you're thinking, well, what are you giving me just have we won the league? Have we won the league? No. So why are we 1,000? Why are we paying 1,200 just to watch you come forth? Same thing. United were probably one of the lowest. For a good while, United were probably one of the lowest. And as much as they've got their debts, 900 seems a fair enough deal. for a price ticket at Manchester United, because you know there's going to be a lot of people coming from Japan and anywhere just to get their hands on a season ticket, just to go to 1 or 2 games and probably sell their tickets online as well. Then I just think overall this is coming down to I think well done to Liverpool overall. I think if they had said we're sticking to what we're doing and this is how it's going to be, then this wouldn't have happened. This £30 price ticket thing wouldn't have happened at all, and it would have been another 10 years to see if the Premier League had actually done something about it. And now they're talking about something about putting some money back into grassroots. I don't know if you're going to get into that tonight, but again, it's another thing. I said it on Mike's Facebook status. The best international players started their careers at grassroots, so therefore that's where the money should really be going to, if you're going to put any money in at all.
Well, we will actually discuss that a bit later on. We are hold on to that thought, because we will actually discuss that a little later in a point. And if we don't get onto it this week, then we will discuss. We've got a couple of points in the grassroots segment actually lined up, which will be of interest. I'll say that much. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'll just finish on the point of saying well done to Liverpool. It's for basically agreeing with the fans, and I hope that every club kind of goes in that same direction in the future. Whereas it's not just the 11 players that are on the pitch. It's also the many thousands and millions that choose to support the club. So well done to all of them. Well done to Liverpool, as I said. And happy St. Paddy's Day, Liam, and birthday.
Hey, Thursday is going to be an interesting one. But no, it is one of them ones where, yeah, I'm going to come back to the ticket thing. I'm going to come back to the Benitez thing as well. Russ Vernon, you wanted to jump in on these 2 points as well, didn't you? Benitez replacing McClaren, and also the Premier League capping tickets for 30 quid.
Yes, I did, Liam, and I'll start off with the Benitez one. I think it could be a good move for Newcastle, fetching in Benitez, because he knows this league already, and I think he'll have a good. I think he'll do well for. I think he'll do well for them, and for me, I think tonight I've just watched the game. Newcastle played well in pass, as did Leicester. Leicester deserved to get the goal, and it was a good goal as well from Okazaki. And I think he's going to get time to get his stamp on things. I think next week, probably next weekend, or not next weekend, weekend after, you'll see his style of football, his style of play, because when he come in on Friday and did his training, he had to tell him what he wanted to do ready for tonight, and said to Darby, you'll have a good long week now. They'll be in tomorrow, and then for the rest of the week, building up to next weekend. And I think he'll put his stamp on things, Benitez, and I think Newcastle will probably win the derby next week against Sunderland next Sunday, with offers 1 kick-off. And with the ticket thing, Liam, I think it's a start. I think other clubs and other divisions will probably, like the Football League, will probably follow suit. If not next season, season after, and it'll be better for the game. But like we were saying to Braddock's, big shout out to you, mate. Good win for Leicester tonight, by the way. Like I said with Brad last week, 20 for me is plenty, would be enough for the fans. But I'm happy with 30 to start off with, and then I think if that works, I think maybe that don't work, if he works, I reckon they'll stick with it. If not, I reckon they could go down to 20 Liam and see if that works for, in my opinion, for the ticket issue.
See, for me, you know what? Yeah, I'll take these with the ticket issue first. It's a case of the Premier League capping the cost of tickets for away fans at £30. That's all well and good, but I don't think this is some benevolent gesture from the league because of the $5 billion TV deal. Because the fact that there had to be protests and stuff like that to come to this point, that's what kind of concerns me. And also, one thing that's not really been touched on, it's been mentioned very much in passing, about Arsenal, Tottenham freezing home ticket prices. On a general basis, that's what's been missed. Because if it had been a £30 away and home ticket cap, that would have been massive. In my view, that would have been massive. That would have been a lot more than just a start. That would have been a big time statement. But this only runs for 3 years. So, I mean, once all the furore has died down, they could jack it up again and then have another after protest. It's one of them. It's good. It's a good thing, but it could have been a lot more wide ranging. For me personally, it is one of them ones where, yeah, it is. I mean, why not 20? Because 20 was what everybody was campaigning for. There was the 20s plenty campaign, among others. So it is one of those. I mean, Labour's Shadow Minister for Sport, Clive Efford, saying that the £30 cap is still £10 above the level that fans have called for. He's right, because 20's plenty is what fans. 20 is what fans are calling for. So it just beggars belief as to why, after signing a £5.136 billion TV deal that kicks in next season, why couldn't it be lowered to 20? So that's the interesting one anyway. And it's one of those, most clubs have recognized for some time that we need to do something for the traveling supporter. It's interesting, and I don't know, man. I think it's one of them ones where what's it? Who is it? James McKenna credited the Premier League's £5 billion TV deal as the driver for the cap. Yeah, of course it's the driver for the cap, because they're earning £5.136 billion off a TV deal. So you can do a lot with £5.136 billion. Fact is, I mean, they could have dropped it more, to be honest. But it is one of them ones where most clubs will recognise for some time that we need to do something for the travelling supporter. I know it makes it sound like it's a benevolent gesture from the league when it really never should have gotten to your 60, 70 quid anyway. I mean, West Ham, most expensive single away ticket, 85 quid. Arsenal, 64. Chelsea, 59. It shouldn't be getting to those points. It shouldn't be getting to those points in the first place. So it's one of them ones when some clubs, are offering, just picking Chelsea out, one of the names, and Man City as well. Chelsea £47, Manchester City £42 as cheapest away tickets. Cheapest. When you've got that kind of thing, dropping them to 30 as most expensive as away tickets is not necessarily the most benevolent gesture in the world, especially when your home tickets are probably extortionate. Because, I mean, imagine Arsenal and Tottenham revealing ticket prices for home, ticket price freezes for home fans. I mean, G-Man, how much are Arsenal home tickets? I just want to ask. G-Man, you there? I'm hoping G-Man's there, because G-Man could actually answer that question for me, to be honest. As a regular patron, I think he's just having some technical issues. But it is one of them ones where it's kind of like, I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, personally, I'd love to know how much Arsenal and Tottenham home ticket prices are, because at the end of the day, them like teams lowering clubs. Oh, there we go. And Mike Harniman said they vary between 35 and 100 odd pound depending on category and seating. Like where I'm going with this and why I asked that question is the fact that, all right, clubs can come out and say, yeah, we've lowered away ticket prices, but then that in theory gives them a bit more leverage to up the prices of their home tickets. Because they're lowering the away tickets, they can get away with doing that. So it is one of them ones. Caller, you're through to your Monday Night Footballing Fix. Who have we got the pleasure of speaking to right now?
It's Tom.
Hey Tom, how's it going? Did you want to jump in on the issues that we're discussing at the moment?
I don't know what you're talking about. I've only just caught the show because I'm not at my mum's at the moment.
Oh, at the moment we're just talking about the Premier League capping the price of away tickets at £30, and also Steve McClaren out, Rafael Benitez in at Newcastle.
The Benitez one's quite a good one actually. I think he'll actually keep him up if he sorts the philosophy out and all the mentality. But if they're losing tonight, but he's not there actually in the dugout tonight, is he?
I think he was. I think he actually was in the dugout.
Oh, was it? I didn't watch it because I've only been watching updates on my phone, obviously. But I think it's a good appointment for him, to be honest. I was quite surprised when he went there because some sources, people were telling me that he was linked with there was David Moyes as the front runner, but other than that, I think Benitez is a good. No, he's got. Hopefully, he'll play the same sort of style of football he played with Liverpool, which helped Liverpool get to cup finals.
Yeah, no, I mean, see, the Benitez thing for me is a strange one, because, and especially, for me, especially with the break clause, there are mixed signals being sent. Newcastle United, as a club, as fans, there are delusions of grandeur. There truly are delusions of grandeur there. They think they're a lot bigger a club than they are. Let's be perfectly honest about it. McClaren winning 6 of 28 Premier League games in charge. You're always going to have your head on the chopping block for that kind of record. It was kind of an odd appointment in the first place, but Newcastle were replacing John Carver, who was an odd appointment in the first place to see out that season. And Newcastle have a history of making odd decisions when it comes to managers. Joe Kinnear jumps to mind. And
Alan Shearer.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, if anything, that had a little more logic behind it because at least it was the Newcastle legend, but he had no qualifications. So yeah, that can jump into that category. Benitez, it's a good appointment because Benitez is a very good manager, but he's now only got 9 games left. At the time, it was 10. Now it's 9 after tonight's defeat against Leicester. Newcastle, from what I know, have a game in hand. From talking to one of my Ibis Eagles 5's teammates, Zarko, big shout out to him, and the Ibis Eagles 5's goalkeeper. He's a Newcastle supporter, and he's mentioned that Newcastle have a game in hand, and ironically enough, it's against Manchester City. So it's like, and he was like, you know what? I'm not even counting that. He's like, so that drops down to 8, but for me, the fact of the matter is to implement a new style, you can't do that in 8, 9, 10 games. To implement a completely new style, you need a good season at least. I mean, this is not me telling tales out of school. This is not me changing my opinion. I've said it about Liverpool when we took on Jurgen Klopp, when we hired Jurgen Klopp. It's a case of you ain't going to see the true Klopp effect for a season and a half. So it's one of them ones. I'm not changing goalposts in the middle of the game here. The one thing that does concern me about this is that Newcastle letting Benitez insert this relegation break clause. I mean, Benitez said, "Oh, some people can see this as special, but it's normal." I'm trying to stay in the Premier League, and if I have a compromise for the future, it's because I am convinced that we will do well. I want to stay. That's sending mixed messages. It's saying, it's weird to say, I am trying to stay in the Premier League. I'm convinced that we will do well. I want to stay, but I've basically got an escape plan if it all goes wrong. That's not, that's very, very, for me, that's very, very strange. That's very, very strange to say. That's like when Sheringham was sacked at Stevenage, and I think it was what's his name? Phil Wallace came out and said, "Oh yeah, Sheringham has had bad luck with injuries and that kind of thing, but I had to get rid of him based on results because the results were bad." It's like you're sending mixed messages. It's like, are you getting rid of him because it's like, are you saying you have sympathy with him because of a load of injuries, or are you saying he's not good enough? It's just this thing about, it's just, for me, it's these things about mixed messages being sent out. And Newcastle, for all intents and purposes, look like they're going down. So it's one of them was 9 games to keep a team up. You basically just have to. I mean, I think Benitez will tighten them up at the back, which he seems to have. Well, at least in comparison to. I expected Newcastle to get absolutely annihilated by Leicester tonight, considering the snowball of form that they're on. In terms of momentum, but it's one of them ones where I can still see Newcastle going down, but I think Benitez will at least tighten them up at the back of it. Because Benitez, it's one of them. His teams are usually defensively pretty good, but he's not got much time, and that's the thing here, time. Now, in terms of the Premier League capping costs of tickets for away, is it 30 quid? That's one of them ones. I don't think that's a benevolent gesture. I think it's a PR move, and it's damage limitation, because the Premier League teams have seen that fans ain't having it anymore. Like that Biff Naked tune, it's a case of, we're not going to take it. No, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it anymore. And fans are protesting on a more regular basis nowadays. So it's a case of, you know what, to satiate the fans for the moment and like make ourselves look good, redeem ourselves a little, get our reputation a bit back. It's one of them ones where we now have to look at, you know what, let's drop it to 30. Let's not drop it completely to 20 and completely satiate the fans to make them think they're in control. But let's give them a little something and meet them halfway. Let's cap the away tickets and meet fans halfway. I think it's a PR move. I do not think this is a benevolent gesture that the Premier League clubs have done. Because as we've seen before, football is an unscrupulous sport and is based largely on greed at the top level. So I don't think this is any benevolent gesture. And as I said, it gives clubs more leverage to jack up their home ticket prices. So it's one of them ones. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It's kind of a double-edged sword in that. That's what I reckon anyway. I said it's an interesting one. But Benitez to Newcastle, good move for them. The break clause, I personally would not have let him insert that, because literally Benitez could walk away at the end of the season if Newcastle get relegated and just say, well, I didn't have time to do much anyway. Walk off with a payoff and his reputation intact, whereas the team gets relegated, which looks very likely to happen to Newcastle again. So I know it's one of them ones. I think he'll tighten them up a bit defensively, but I don't think he'll stop him from going down, because I said you can't implement a new style in 8-9 games. You just can't do it. It's not possible at the top level. And getting that style to work and click and be successful, especially with a team as devoid of confidence as Newcastle are. You can see it in the way they play. You can see it in the chances they miss. So, G-Man, you want to jump in on McClaren out, Benitez in, and also the £30 ticket prices, away ticket price cap in the Premier League?
Yeah, so sorry about the dropping off in that. But the £30 cap, I think, I heard bits and pieces of what you just said. And I've got to say, most of it, a majority of it, I agree with you. Especially when you say the PR, it's a bit of a PR trick. Clubs have been facing a lot of hostility lately, and especially with, Liverpool rarely pushing the mark, Arsenal fans making a lot of noise, Noise has been made for years, in the lower leagues as well. But the only concern that I have, really and truthfully, like they've capped it to £30. I don't think the £30 mark is much of a big loss to some of the bigger clubs, as it would seem. But £30, like you said, could they have gone more? Especially the clubs like Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, where category A games, and I can speak for Arsenal specifically, where category A games, especially against like the top six, so say they come round thick and fast, and for a lot of fans, they're paying out a lot more for category A games than they are for B and C. And, the whole way the pricing scheme works as it is, it needs an overhaul as is. I'm not sure what an easy way to do it would be, because logically in my head it would be, price all games at the same price. But, not every team and not every fan will see their team on the same level as other clubs. And how would you strategically price it for all clubs, to benefit all clubs? So it's a bit of a double-edged sword scenario. I'm not sure how they will get around to making it fair for everyone, but capping it at £30, at least there's a start. Bit late, but at least there's a start. But going into the Benitez, signing for Newcastle, and I'm just within my thoughts right now because it's a weird one. I think it's absolutely crazy, to be honest, by Rafa Benitez to move to Newcastle. The only thing I could think about is he's gone there for a payday. I said at the beginning of the show, I honestly believe this season's about form. You can't go on what clubs have been done in the past. There has been a change in the dynamics of this league, and if form is what we're going by, and we are looking at the realistic form of the teams, Newcastle, really and truthfully, they're goners. They're with the fixtures that they've got coming up. There's some hard fixtures they got, and as you just said, what kind of system is he really going to put in place? At the late stages, 9 games to go in a relegation battle where your squad's mentality isn't all there. It's not like it's a midway through the season where you can muster up a salvage job. This is like 9 games. Alan Shearer's tried it with Newcastle, and we've seen that before. And it's like, where is Benitez really going to find the battlers from in this squad that Steve McClaren couldn't find? Apparently, in his press conference, he said there are, players in the squad. He believes the squad's good enough to go on, and keep Newcastle up, and thus far going on to do something next season. But I can't see it, to be honest. We've seen some, individual sparks from Wijnaldum, from Mitrovic and Ayoze Perez. Yeah, we've seen those individual performances, but in the squad as a whole, they're so lackluster. They've submitted to some grave defeats. Like today, was a game where they at least needed a point. You saw Norwich at the weekend pick up a point against Manchester City. Newcastle got Sunderland coming up this weekend, I think. I just can't see where they are going to get the points they need to stay up. And with the opt-out in the contract, I think it's smart. I think it's smart on both parties because, basically, if Newcastle go down, you don't want Benitez there for next season because he's not going to want to be in the Championship come on, you know, and he's going to be trying to engineer, you know what would happen? He'll be trying to engineer a move away from Newcastle, you know, for half of next season, you know. I'm not saying he'll make the team deliberately lose, but I can't see Benitez in a championship run trying to get a club back in. You know, he's just come from Real Madrid. He's managed a good Liverpool side. He's managed, you know, Valencia to the Champions League. You know, you just can't see Benitez, you know, putting his hat in the ring for a championship battle. You know, especially when it's totally different dynamics to, you know, what the Premiership is, and you know where he would have the sort of funds to buy types of players he's used to working with. So I see it's good for him to have it, so he can get out, but it's good for Mike Ashley to have it, so he can cut his losses early and get the right man in, you know, to do the championship battle. That's my views on that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, you're right. It is one of them ones where it's like you've definitely got to get the right man in for the job. And I said it's just these mixed messages that Benitez is sending with the quote that he came up with. It just unsettles me. I'm trying to stay in the Premier League, and if I have a compromise for the future, it's because I am convinced that we will do well. I want to stay. Like, someone who's convinced that he will do well is not going to build in an insurance policy in case he gets relegated, because he won't be thinking about that. That's what unsettles me. That's what unsettles me about this. So it's like, if you were so sure that you're going to keep Newcastle up, why would you have a relegation break clause in the contract? Doesn't make sense.
Protecting himself, though. Protecting himself.
Oh, yeah, of course. But for me, I don't know. It just doesn't make much sense to me. So, I don't know, man. No, it's an interesting one. But you know what? It is an interesting one. I mean, Mike Harniman, you know what? That point you just mentioned on Skype is an interesting one. Do you want to articulate it for the people before we move on?
Yeah, for me, I think Newcastle should really have been looking at getting somebody in right now who would actually be able to do a job in the Championship, not just a short-term man like they've done with Benitez, and basically, you know, if even going down the kind of caretaker, interim manager kind of road is what they should have done, really, instead of paying out, you know, putting in clauses for Benitez and giving him all these kind of sort of special kind of like clauses in his contracts and whatever. I think they should really prepare for, if they were to go down, prepare for the worst and then go from that. That's the way I see it, to be honest, with Newcastle at the moment.
I mean, I personally think you're right, to be perfectly honest. It is one of them ones where it's like, yeah, you do. It's like Aston Villa. Aston Villa should be preparing for the Championship. Newcastle need to have that in place as well, because it looks like it does look like they're going down. And if you look like you're going down, you've got to really start putting stuff in place from now to be, because oh my God, the Championship is so competitive every year. It's not a league to be scoffed at. It is always competitive. I mean, look at Middlesbrough, Hull, among others. It's very competitive in that league.
Oh yeah, 100%. And Newcastle should know that, because they've slipped down into the Championship in the past. So exactly. I don't know why they've gone out and done this now and made this decision. I think Newcastle are a side, like I said, have slipped into the Championship. They should know better than this and kind of should actually, I think they're making kind of similar mistakes to what they've done before.
Oh, definitely. It's one of them. Those who don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. You know what? Speaking of that, it is one of them ones where it is time for us to take just a quick little break. And a big shout out to Ian Kerr, who's just said a big hello. Big shout out to Finn White Line Magazine at Tweet White Line on Twitter, finnwhitelinemagazine.com as well, facebook.com/Finn White Line Magazine. Remember, pick up issue 1 of Finn White Line Magazine. Yours truly, your Monday Night Football and Fix Pitch Talk is featured in it. Also, all proceeds are going to a very, very worthwhile cause. finnwhitelinemagazine.com. Go and buy issue 1. We implore you to. It's £2.50. Well worth the money. You know, we're just going to go on a quick break and we will be right back. The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Vernon.
G-Man.
Samir Sawni, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com. The Monday Night Football Fix Pitch Talk is brought to you by and in association with
Talking Pie, a local podcast made by the fans for the fans of Notts County FC, hosted by Adam and Thomas Hewitt.
Simply Exclusive Entertainment. If you need a party or rave film, go to sxemedia.com for more information.
Apparently Rich, simple yet effective web solutions to help get your company off the ground. Visit apparentlyrich.com for more information. And LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video. If you need a video filmed and or edited, check out ljaproductions.co.uk. LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video, offering video production services such as video editing, video encoding for the web, including YouTube and Vimeo, audio recording, filming of interviews, promos, live events, and much more. Get in touch at www.ljaproductions.co.uk or twitter.com/LJA Productions and let the new blood in digital video promote you. Pitch Talk is brought to you by and in association with
the one-stop shop for all your coaching needs, Motivate Sports and Fitness. Check out motivatesportsandfitness.com for more information.
The new football culture magazine, Thin White Line. Check out thinwhitemagazine.com for more information.
Storm FM with new hot releases played daily. Feel the boom at stormfm.net.
Two girls with their Bonnie Scotty trying to cover as much women's football as they can. Girls on the Ball. Check out girlsontheball.com for more information.
Hello, I'm Rob Vernon.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
Dave McClaren.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
International and continental talking points.
Yeah, we're on international and continental talking points. And you know what? Yeah, we're going to actually jet to America for this one. We're going to jet to America because Premier League stars queuing up to join MLS, says Robbie Keane. LA Galaxy captain Robbie Keane claims Premier League stars are desperate to make the move to MLS. MLS has become home to some of the world's biggest stars since Keane followed David Beckham to Los Angeles Galaxy in 2011, with Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Andre Pirlo, David Villa, and Kaká among a host of high-profile players swapping Europe for the United States. Former Premier League winners Ashley Cole and Nigel de Jong have also arrived in MLS, linking up with Keane at Galaxy, while former Juventus attacker Sebastian Giovinco was last season's MLS MVP with Toronto FC. Keane revealed players are now queuing up to get a taste of the USA's homegrown league. So it's one of growing competition. There's been a massive difference between 2011 and now, said the 35-year-old Republic of Ireland national. David Beckham was really the one who started off, and I followed him since then. The influx of stars who've come over here has been absolutely huge. People like Kaká, Lampard, Gerrard, Dos Santos, Villa, Pirlo, they're massive names in Europe. It's only going to get bigger. There's no doubt about that. The league is only going to get stronger. Players I played with are calling me up now from England and Spain, and they're really desperate to come over because they see how much the league has grown and because of the lifestyle as well. Now, relating to MLS, in terms of players maybe wanting to go over there because of the lifestyle, in slight relation to that, there's innovation potentially going on as well, because it's one of them was Fox to mic up coaches during MLS live broadcast. En route to becoming a leading world soccer league, the MLS is innovating by placing microphones on coaches during nationally televised TV games so that viewers can hear the words coming from the horse's mouth, rather than the horse's a double crooked letter. Anyway, Fox's lead producer Shaw Brown hopes to incorporate the clips during moments, for example, when the ball goes out of play and there is a good 10 seconds to roll something in. Brown assured that these are things that enhance the game, but for me, they will never get in the way of the game. I won't let them. US sport is culturally inclined to bridging the gap between sports personalities and the fans. In the NBA, coaches are outfitted with microphones, as are referees in the NFL. This practice is unfamiliar, though, to the traditional fans of football and perhaps unnerving to the passionate manager who previously has had little concern about watching his manner of communication. Fortunately, the broadcast network will not relay the sound live. Rather, the communications will be vetted by the broadcaster and an MLS representative to ensure the words will not affect the sensibilities of the viewing audience, and then relayed during opportune moments throughout the game. This is similar practice used in the NBA and ostensibly little brother in the opinion of Jesse Marsh, head coach of the New York Red Bulls, who said maybe it gets going and then you're not too worried about it. Jim Curtin, head coach of the Philadelphia Union, expressed his belief that it will change the sideline behavior of coaches. Any coach that's going to be mic'd up, there's no way to say exactly what you would if you weren't mic'd up. That's a fact. Even if you watch these NBA huddles and timeouts and the different things that are said, you can almost tell right away that the coach is speaking like he has a microphone on and is watching what he says. Beyond the likely expletives that will be captured, the bug coach might be bugged by the prospect of having strategy and tactics exposed for public consumption. Though Marsh mentioned this was a viable concern, he expressed that its benefits outweigh the cost. There was some talk among the coaches group that it may expose some of the tactics or strategy in what you're doing, but I don't think there are too many secrets. There are some personalities that are coaches in this league, and there are some interesting things being done with different teams. And the more insight that I think fans can get into the complexities of what's happening on the field, I think the more interesting it gets and the more compelling it gets. So it is one of them ones where, in Marsh's view, the access to coaches' insight could increase interest in the on-pitch play by educating the viewers as to what's happening, be it the coach's interpretation of the game or the coach's ostensible plan for the players as indicated through the instructions. Or it's also worth mentioning the danger of revealing tactical insight may be abated if the MLS representative has some authorized amount of discretion to filter out such information. It's a little it's kind of like freedom of speech. It's a bit hard to vet that kind of thing. But anyway, it's unlikely that sensitive information will be barked out across the field in the course of a game anyway, for the alert is on the opponent's bench to discourage that form of activity. Where the issue arises with greater force is in the whisperings between coaches and players. It remains to be seen whether fans will be privy to those interactions. There will definitely be some access to locker room interactions. Brown stated that cameras will be in the locker rooms of televised games to be a fly on the wall for a little bit. Now, it's interesting that it's one of them. That feature will actually debut as the 2016 MLS season kicks off. Actually, so it's one of them ones. G-Man, I want to hear from you first. What do you think of Keane's claim, Robbie Keane's claims, and also that little innovation within the MLS? Because that actually reminds me of something, but I'll get into that in a minute. G-Man, what's your thoughts? And Skypers, if you want to jump in, please let us know as well. We'd love to hear from you too. G-Man, you wanna run with it?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute and I was talking.
Yeah.
No, but I was saying, in 2010, 2011, I remember, I think we had this, we had a conversation talking about the future of MLS, and we were talking about, potentially, will, European stars be flooding over to the MLS in the future?
Yeah, we have mentioned,
by the sounds of it, like from what Robbie Keane's saying, people are, in his words, are desperate to make the move. I'm not sure how true that is, and it depends on what sort of level he's talking about. Because really and truthfully, the names he's mentioned so far, they're more of the elderly pros in the game, people that are coming to the end of their careers, and as we know, they get bumper big contracts in nice, sunny climates of the lush environments in America. So, it is somewhat of a journey to be done. In the latter stages of your career, we've seen like big stars in the past, or we've heard of big stars in the past, like Pele, making their ventures over to the MLS. But I'm not saying there's a threat of the MLS potentially nicking the best talents in the future, but I wouldn't be surprised that younger stars might be looking to the horizons of the MLS. And I think we mentioned this before because it's where opportunities arise. You look at Ian Wright's stepson.
Bradley Wright Phillips.
He's over there. And he's actually benefited from his move to the MLS, playing for the Red Bulls. So, and he is a good statesman to look at and think, what, for a younger and developmental type player to look at their situation, if they're not getting the game time over in Europe, to say, look, we could have a good shot at going to the MLS. It's an up and coming market in such, and they're thirsty for good potential pros. They may want to cut their feet, but at the moment, I just see it as elderly statesmen, really looking for a last shot, basically. So I'm in two minds of it. I don't know whether that's actually factual. They're desperate, words desperate, or whether it's just the MLS are desperate to bring stars over. But moving on to the mic and Marsh's, hopes for this pinning the mic on the coaches and managers. That's not me. I'm not really interested in that side of the game. I don't really want to hear what Mourinho or Wenger or Steve Bowles got to say on the touchline. I'd rather hear what the referee has to say on his decision making there and then, so everyone in the stadium can hear, or from the television aspect can hear what they've got to say, to be honest, because that's the most, for me as a fan, that's more crucial to me. I really couldn't care less if you hear a manager on the sidelines shouting, run up, run left, run right, move up further, come on, F this, get moving, if they let their tongue slip. I really couldn't, that to me, that, who cares about that, who actually, it's to me,
manager and players, there's a sacred, for me in football, there's a sacred part of the game, and that's where the managers and players, they go off the pitch, they talk with one another, they come back on the pitch, they play the game as what they discussed in the changing rooms or on the touchlines or the sidelines, That's fantastic. But I think it's going to cause more problems than it's actually going to achieve entertainment and, add a greater side to the game.
I mean, it's an interesting perspective. Jaymie Bailey, you wanted to jump in on these two topics as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I wanted to say it's probably in terms of the players going up to the MLS, I'll agree with G-Man. It's pretty much for the elder statesmen if they actually want to just continue their career and not have to play every week and be in a demanding league as they were before. As the chairman of the MLS said, it's growing, but it is, so to speak, 100 years behind the European leagues. So again, he's having to play catch up regardless of what happens. Apparently, they're building bigger stadiums and newer stadiums, and you look at the American sort of piece of land, they can build a stadium in the desert and they'll still fill it up anyway. If I look at this idea of bringing microphones to certain managers, bad idea. Simply because of what it does. It just takes away the alluring idea of what did the manager choose, what did he speak to his coach, what did he speak to his players about, blah blah blah. And yeah, you can find out, but it's also a good secret to have, because that way you can say, okay, well, you can see it on the pitch. It's like, for me, again, I said about Benitez bringing off Shelby. I don't know what the thinking was behind that, but you can find that in the press conference afterwards, or you can find out that idea in a different way. It's maybe in a couple of days. But we do out right there and then.
But we do live in a world where everyone wants everything yesterday. We do live in that kind of world. I mean, look at social media. When something happens on the football pitch, it's a vine 2 minutes later, and then stuff goes viral. And look how quick that goes viral. Whenever someone says something, instantly speculation is on Twitter straight away, and then eventually that becomes Sky sources within a couple hours, and it's that kind of thing. So I know what you're saying. I just think in general, this is going to be. Obviously, I'm a football coach. I see it as some coaches over here will see it as an invasion of their privacy. Hence the reason why it's hardly really been brought up over here. Over in America, the reason why it works so well is because basketball is sort of an American sport, although it is played in Europe and other places. The NFL, it's an American sport. So it's now being played over here and over in Japan and blah, blah, blah. But it's predominantly for only one country to kind of hear it. But if they were to bring it over to this side and it goes global, then it's another money spinning idea just to kind of get people on board. I don't think it will. I think it's going to cause a lot of. It's not going to cause a lot of controversy because obviously, as they said, they're going to edit what was said, and they're going to warn the coaches of their conduct. And really, truly, you shouldn't have to watch. You're on the sidelines with only your word and the rest of the players around you. You shouldn't really have to watch your tone. It's like if somebody's not doing their job, you got to tell them. And that's the thing about it. It's if that's what you're there for. You can have a quiet word and blah blah blah, but modern day tactics should old school tactics should still work in the modern day. Tell a guy, do your job, regardless of how you do it. Just do it. If you have a camera on you, you're almost saying, you know what? Can you do your job, please? It's okay. You're gonna get paid at the end of the week, but please do your job a bit more better than you are. And then he doesn't, and it's like, oh, I wish I didn't have that camera on me. Otherwise, I would have told you in a different way. And that's where I think it's kind of going.
So I do agree with G-Man on both points, and I think on this occasion, if they bring this into the World Game, it's just gonna take off as a money spinner rather than something that's actually gonna benefit the team, benefit the game overall.
Do you know what? I do have to say I do largely agree with you on that in terms of it looking like just a money spinner, because at the end of the day, as much as it is an interesting innovation, it's actually kind of been done before. Ironically enough, actually, big shouts to the Attitude Era podcast. It's a wrestling podcast I actually really do enjoy. And one of the things that the Attitude Era podcast, they actually did a kind of bonus episode, or bono episode, as they like to call it. It's one of them ones where they were talking about the XFL. And obviously, Jamie, you being a wrestling fan for a while, you will probably remember the XFL from the worst year in professional wrestling history, 2001. Started off brilliantly, ended horribly. But anyway, leaving that aside, it was a case of, with the XFL, they had this kind of innovation where essentially it was one of them was they just stuck a camera in a coach's face whilst he was giving his team talk and that kind of stuff. So that kind of innovation was done 15 years ago now, because the XFL kicked off around about this time in 2001, and they had all the fly on the wall stuff with cameras in the locker rooms. They did it with cameras in the cheerleaders' locker rooms eventually, when their ratings were sagging. If you'll pardon the phraseology there. It was like a last desperate attempt to get fans in, and it's one of them ones that I personally am not a fan of it, because you look at what's happened with, say, pro wrestling, where the curtain has been pulled back so far. There are no surprises anymore. There's nothing to guess anymore. There's no surprises. There's no mystery anymore. And imagine it's one of them ones if, say, Rafael Benitez's famous team talk, where he named 12 players at halftime in Istanbul, where he named one night in Istanbul. That's where I kind of got that from. And 15 minutes that should cop. It's one of them ones where it's like it's one of them ones. Imagine that team talk. You would have seen that a million times, and you would have had a million people trying to copy it, and then it waters down the effect of it. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you would end up literally having adverts during these things. And it's like, I can understand you wanna have something to basically B-roll during kind of lull times during the match. But at the same time, I just think it would really degenerate. I think it would degenerate into a really gimmicky thing. Then you'd have the sponsors jumping in, wanting to have their logos there whilst the team talk is on. This team talk is brought to you by Snickers. Snickers, hungry, why wait? And all that. And it's like, or Subway, eat fresh. It'd be like bloody that, say, Survivor Series 2001 when it was sponsored by Xbox, or Snickers presents Halloween Havoc, and it's like, this halftime team talk is brought to you in association with da, and it would get gimmicky. And as you said, Jamie, I agree with you. It would just become nothing but a money spinner. It'd be gimmicky. It's kind of similar to referees giving post-match interviews. It'd be one of them was you'd end up developing a group of people who are just like soundbite kings, where it'd just be like, go out there, pound them into the ground. Yeah. And you get people, and then it'd almost degenerate into pro wrestling, where people will be cutting promos into the camera. Because you're going to get the verbal slips in terms of swearing and that kind of thing. But then once that initial teething phase is out of the way, you would legitimately just get people cutting promos to camera and just saying stuff to put themselves over in a certain way. If someone, could you imagine someone like, say, Jose Mourinho latching onto this? Oh my good Lord. Could you imagine him latching onto it? I mean, I've said he missed his calling as a pro wrestling manager. I mean, he'd have heat on the level of Paul Heyman and Jim Cornette. But it'd be one of them ones where it would get even worse. It would just degenerate into a comedy show. So, I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, we have the post-match interviews. I mean, halftime swapping of shirts is gimmicky and stupid enough. You'll end up getting like halftime things. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to get into the changing room to brief my team. I don't want the cameras in. And then what they're going to do then, if the manager says they don't want cameras in, do what they do with post-match. It's like you have to have someone to talk to the media or you get fined. And then it starts going down that road. So personally, I'm not a fan of miking up coaches. I would rather it's distracting as well. Just let the coaches get on with it. As if the coaches are not under enough stress and pressure already. Now you sticking a camera in their face, monitoring everything they say. It's not as if the parasitic media doesn't scrutinize and twist and analyze everything that's said already. Sticking a camera on what they're saying is going to make it even worse. Oh, look, he singled out this player for criticism today. Oh, look at that. Oh, they're just going to, it'll get stupid. I really think it will get stupid. I mean, it's an interesting idea, fair dues, but I just don't think it's viable. Personally, I don't think it's viable. I really don't. But Robbie Keane's saying, yeah, players are desperate to go over to the MLS. Desperate's probably a strong word, but at the same time, in a growing league, yeah, of course, players are going to want to join a growing league at some point. Look at China, but people are going there for the money. Whether the standard will rise, we're not going to see that for another 5 to 10 years. Similar with the MLS, we're not going to see for another 5 to 10 years whether these veterans who have been going over there for the past 10, 15 years. We're not going to see for another 5, 10 years whether these veterans and players who didn't quite set the world alight in Europe, like your Javinkos, the Wright Phillips brothers, guys like that, Freddie Adu, guys who didn't set the world on fire in Europe. We're not gonna see if more credible players than that. We're not gonna see if they're improving the league for another 5 to 10 years. So this will be one to revisit when PT is 10. To be honest, but yeah, any growing league. I mean, it's one of them ones where it's like, yeah, people always want to be the first to something. And it ties in with this kind of thing with this MLS innovation, miking up coaches. People always want to be the first to do something. So I can kind of see what Robbie Keane's saying, but without proof of it, it's kind of hard to take it seriously. So that would be where I would go on, where I would stand on both of those points. That would be where I would stand. I mean, G-Man, I don't know if you agree. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but that's the way I stand.
No, I agree with you. I pretty much agree with you and Jaymie.
Small level. But you know what? That was an interesting little talking point. A water full of conversation there. Quite like that. But you know what? Yeah, Jamie's funny. Ryan Saundley says he agrees, and Jamie's like, yeah, I do agree with the Liverpool fan. This one's funny. I agree that you ain't retaining your FA Cup this season. But anyway, Kerbal right on Mill strike one. But it is about that time for the final segment of the show, which is
Stuff of the week.
Oh yeah. La da 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 la da da. Stuff of the week is on the air. Player and flop, goal and team of the week. Get stuff ready, cause it's that time of the show. Every Monday night, we are Pitch Talk. Wishing your football, chat about 'cause it's showtime. From IBM. Yo, till just like a river. Oh, yeah. 'Cause it's pitch talk. Oh, yeah. It's Monday talk. Yeah, let's go for goal of the week first. G-Man, who are you going for goal of the week?
Honourable mention to Ogasaki today because that was a tremendous overhead kick. But I've got to go for Guardiola.
Oh, you're going for Adrian Guardiola's free kick?
Guardiola, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you on that one, just for the fact that he nearly took the net off. That was a true net buster. Here's one. It was. Yeah, I'm going Guardiola for my goal of the week as well. Tom Wood, who are you going for goal of the week?
Michael Timlin strike against Barnsley.
Jaymie Bailey, who are you going for goal of the week?
The Sheffield United goal, Rayford, I think his name is. First goal.
Ryan Sonley, who are you going for goal of the week?
My goal of the week is not actually an official goal. It's actually Jimmy Pollard goes for that thing that he does over the week for UIDWS. It was a cracking goal, and I've got Kieran's, and he says both of Booze's goals against Bristol City.
Fair dues, fair dues. Russ Vernon, who are you going for goal of the week?
Honourable mention to Quantinucci for his chip kick. With you guys talk, Quincy Amikwa's goal for San Jose yesterday in the 2-1 win over Portland Timbers in the MLS. Fantastic goal.
That chip was good.
Check out on Twitter, which I've sent over to PT.
That chip was quality. Mike Harniman, who are you going for goal of the week?
Yeah, just going to keep it different. I'm going to give it to West Ham's Dimitri Payet for that free kick against United.
Fair dues, fair dues. I would have given it to Payet in all honesty, but as I said earlier, that dive just tinged it from that dive earlier in the match. I don't think he even got booked for it. Just weird consistency of refereeing again. Let's go for player of the week. G-Man, who are you going for player of the week?
Player of the week. Oh man, come back to me, please.
Okay, cool. Player of the week, actually. I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it down to the Ibis Eagles 5s. Dave Handley and Nabil Khan, hat trick each in the 6-1 win away at South Bank Quarko. Yeah, I'm splitting my player of the week between them two because them two were on fire together this weekend. So yeah, that's where I'm going. Dave Handley and Nabil Khan. And also, they are two of the top scorers in the club as well. They are the two top goal scorers in the club at the moment as well. So it's one of them ones. Fair dues. G-Man, you got yours yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, cool. Mr. Harniman, who are you going for player of the week?
I want to give it to all the players for the Stevenage ladies side. They got to the cup final. And then narrowly lost the cup final yesterday, but they're going to get my players of the week anyway.
Good stuff, good stuff. Tom Wood, who are you going for player of the week?
Troy Deeney.
Fair, very fair dues. Russ Vernon, who are you going for?
Amelia, honourable mention to McClaren Tanucci for getting 2 goals this week. Well, I'm going to give it to David Villa for his performance yesterday for New York City in their 2-2 draw yesterday in the MLS. That was a fantastic game and a fantastic comeback by Toronto FC, Liam.
Yeah, fair dues. Let's go for JBK. Who are you going for?
I'm actually going to go for my players for making a very great cup final game at Roehampton Uni. As much as we lost 4-2, I think we basically were one of the better sides and should have won it. So, thank you very much, referees, for running the game.
Well, let's go. Who hasn't given their player of the week? There we go. We got Ryan Stonley. Who you going for player of the week?
My player of the week is actually Jordan Houghton, who is actually on loan from Chelsea's under-21s to Plymouth Argyle, for his mention of saying sorry to the 651 Plymouth fans that made that long journey. Performance was nowhere near good enough and devastated not to take anything. I replied back with, respect to you, bro, for actually coming out and explaining your thoughts, #PAFC. And it got 8 likes. And Kieran Riley's gone for Matt Doherty for getting his goal against Bristol City.
Fair dues. G-Man, who you going for? You got yours yet?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Zlatan Ibrahimovic. For his basically, he's had an awesome week. He netted a hat trick at the weekend, and also his feature against Chelsea in the Champions League, and plus with PSG winning the league title over the weekend.
Yeah, 25 points, nine in the final. Oh, it's really nuts. Fair dues though. Fair dues. We've done goal. We've done player. Team of the week for me. Team of the week. Ibis Eagles 5s with an honourable mention, with a little nod to the 6s as well. For Vic Jondo playing a little cameo for us as well. But the Ibis Eagles 5s comfortably get my team of the week. Yeah, it's one of them. I can't think of anyone better to give it to. The Ibis Eagles 5s team of the week. G-Man, who you going for?
Once again, I'm going to give it to the mighty Leicester City for going by us today. Just for the sheer fact that keep proving people wrong.
Fair dues. Let's go. Tom Wood, who you going for? Team of the week.
Southampton finally getting a win after 2 straight defeats.
Fair dues. Russ Vernon, who you going for?
For me, Liam, Leeds United for their 2 wins in the week. Also, Rotherham United for their comeback against Derby County. And I'm going to also give it to St. Jose Earthquakes for their performance yesterday against Bowling Timbers in the MLS.
Fair dues. Ryan Sonley, who you going for?
Honourable mention to Borussia Dortmund for what they did for that Fulham supporter who passed away.
Great shout. Oh, man, I forgot about that. That's a fantastic shout.
And my actual team of the week is actually going to be Bristol Rovers to keep pushing to get into that automatic playoff promotion, who are 3 points behind us. And I've got Kieran's, who are Wolves, and also an honourable mention to Borussia Dortmund.
Fair dues. Mr. Harniman, who are you going for?
Yeah, I'm going to give an honourable mention to Leeds for their 3 wins in a row now. But I'm going to agree with Ryan, really, and I'm going to give my actual team of the week to Borussia Dortmund for the exact same reason.
Fair dues. JBK, who are you going for?
I'm actually going to give it to the parents and everybody that come down on the Saturday for the game. It was I didn't think we were going to have that many people to be watching our game, but literally everybody who knew a player all came down, families, friends, everyone. So I think grassroots ways, I think it's great to see that there's still a bit of what's the word? Still a bit of good support regardless of the game.
Fair dues.
Also, Noel Williams as well. I know him, and basically he's been training my team for the last 2 weeks. So I hope the former Watford player shows it all again tomorrow.
Fair dues. Let's go for flop of the week. For me, flop of the week. Flop of the week. It is really hard I would originally, before the weekend started, I would have said Manchester United for crap and giggles. But after the weekend, I have to say Arsenal. Purely for the reason, the fans fighting, that's just stupid. That's a moronic minority. I'm not even gonna, I barely acknowledge that for a reason. And it's because morons don't deserve any sort of promo. The people ranting on Arsenal Fan TV and other sources as well, it's like that's what really gets my goat. And this whole Wenger out thing, it's one of them ones. A lot of Arsenal fans were whinging, oh, we want to focus on the league, the FA Cup, winning the FA Cup for a third time isn't going to be good enough. But the fact that when they got eliminated by Watford, they were moaning, oh, bloody hell, we're out. Oh, come on, man, this isn't good enough. It's like, make your mind up. You either want it in the first place or you don't. What? None of this flip-flopping. That's what really gets my goat. So Arsenal, it has to be said because of what seems like a large segment of your fans, or at least the vocal ones anyway. It's like been whinging saying, oh, we didn't want the FA Cup anyway. For winning it a third time's not going to be good enough. You should be focusing on the league. But then whinging when you got dumped out by Watford. And also the defending on Guardiola's goal was like, as a defender, was borderline embarrassing. If I was an Arsenal supporter watching defending that bad, I would have been embarrassed by that too. So that's where I'm going. G-Man, who are you going for? Flop of the week?
Well, I'm totally with you. I'm going with the Arsenal fans, and that's surely for the fact of, look, when you're supporting a club, you support them, win, lose, or draw. Yeah, it doesn't matter about, you know. Well, in my personal opinion, it doesn't matter where your team ends at the end of the day. If you love your club, you love your club. Yes, you do care that the fact that if they're going to get relegated or if they're going for a poor run of form, you want to voice your opinions. But the way that Arsenal fans are going on at the moment are like a bunch of spoiled brats. You know, the situation where the club is at the moment, you know, really and truthfully, when you compare it to some other clubs that were facing dire straits, you know, we're in a good position. You know, we can't win it all. We can't win every year. And as you rightly said, some people don't even want Wenger to win anyway. So when he doesn't win, they're still moaning.
It's one of them ones. I can't legislate for it. I really can't. Tom Wood, who are you going for? Flop of the week. Who is your pick?
I've got two. Diego Costa for the red card for what he did to Gareth Barry, and Danny Welbeck for missing that chance where he was on goal and he couldn't convert it.
No, I hear that. Ryan Sonley, who are you going for? I think that's harsh too, to be honest. But Ryan Sonley, who are you going for?
Honourable mention to both my teams, Plymouth and Middlesbrough. But my flop of the week is going to be Diego Costa for attempting to bite Gareth Barry, but also getting charged for it. And Kieran Riley's gone for Kenny Jackett with an honourable mention to Chelsea.
Fair dues. I've actually forgot about Chelsea, to be honest. The Arsenal thing took over. JBK, who are you going for flop of the week?
Second week in a row, I'm going with the refs simply because of what happened on Saturday. Honourable mention to Ryan for putting my statement in the chat for no reason. But overall, I'm going to go with the refs for pretty much as G-Man said last week. They should be given help. They still are human, and they shouldn't really be making that many mistakes as the referee did in my game on Saturday.
Fair dues. Russ Vernon, who are you going for?
So, Mike, Stevenage is one of them, along with Derby County. Stevenage, who's 4 defeats in a row, and Derby have thrown away a 3-goal lead over Rotherham.
Fair dues, Mr. Harniman. you've got the last
Yep.
one. Who's your flop of the week?
Russ, 100% agree with Stevenage on that one. 4 defeats in a row, as I said earlier, and 2 very tricky games coming up as well. So it could easily be 6 defeats. So yeah, got to throw Stevenage in there. Going to throw in Gabriel as well in there for his performance against Watford. But it's got to be Arsenal in general really for that performance as well. But yeah, then my 3 flops of the week.
Fair douche. You know what? It is one of them ones. Let's say this June. Can't wait for the weekend to begin. I can't wait for the weekend to get back round because the weekend is just finished. Because your Monday night footballing fix has come to an end. Well, has come to an end. But you know what? It is one of them ones where it is about that time for us to start vacating the place with a pace. You know, it's the time that everybody tends to hate, but it's the time that kind of has to happen. But you know what? It is one of them ones where it is time for us to start departing.
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam, and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Russ. My name is Christian Carambeu.
I'm grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Rob Lusher, former chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Samir Swanee, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening
to Pitch Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle. Instead of speaking when microphones are muted, we'll speak when microphones are open. Because we are your Monday night footballing fix. The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions. Why? Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. And also the pitch is where we give
-5 stars
when botches are made as well. It is one that was www.pitch-talk.com is the official website. Find out about more about PT right there. youtube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find all of the videos, including Pitch Talk at the 2016 Capital One Cup final, and many more videos, including the Pitch Talk Meet series and the Pitch Talk on the Road series as well. Also facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become friend, become member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we're working so hard to create. pitchtalk.blogspot.com for the latest blogs, including blogs by the G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, yours truly, the G-Man's blog about the top 10 funniest names in football. It's hilarious. Very much worth a read. Also Mearsey, at Mearsey on Twitter, aka Dave Mear, his word of the ref. Very worthwhile read right there as well. Russ Vernon has submitted blogs among many others of the PT family. We're going to have some upcoming blogs from another member of the PT family, and that is Jennifer Evans as well. So keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. Also at Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. We are Pitch Talk 1 on Skype. You want to be part of your Monday Night Footballing Fix? Add us and be part of the live call with Russ Vernon, Ryan Sonley, JBK, Mike Harniman, Kieran Riley, among others, and Ryan Sonley as well. So it is one of them ones. Also, there are many other ways you can get in touch with us. 07535804466, 07535804466 is the mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you text in, leave your name at the end of the text and we can give you a shout out. Also, it is one of them ones. At Pitch Talk on Twitter, we're on Instagram at Pitch Talk as well. There's one of them ones, right? We are on Google Plus as well. Pitch Talk Live on Google Plus as well. Big time shout outs to the Ibis Eagles at Ibis Eagles AFC on Twitter, www.ibiseaglesafc.co.uk, and also facebook.com/Ibis Eagles AFC as well. Also, big shout outs to Thin White Line Magazine at Tweet White Line on Twitter, facebook.com/Thin White Line Magazine, and thinwhitelinemagazine.com. Remember, issue 1, £2.50. All proceeds are going to a very, very worthwhile cause. Check out their Twitter. Check out our Twitter as well. We've been sending out links for this month. All proceeds will be going to a very, very worthwhile cause. So get your copy of issue 1, digital editions of issue 1 of Thin White Line Magazine, the one with Tim Cahill on the front. Your Monday Night Football and Fixed Pitch Talk actually do feature in it. We've got our copies. Also, it is one of those big shout outs to Girls on the Ball as well, at Girls on the Ball on Twitter, facebook.com/Girls on the Ball, and girlsontheball.com as well. They were doing a lot of updates during the inaugural She Believes Cup, which the USA women's national team won. And they were actually following the England Lionesses in America during the She Believes Cup as well. Go to their website, girlsontheball.com. They do have a brand new blog up reviewing the tournament in general and the Lionesses' performances. So go and have a look at that. You will not be disappointed. But yeah, also big shout out to Big T, aka Thomas Hewitt as well. Shout out to a number of other people. Big shout out to Footy Pod Direct, among others as well. And this one thing this guy thinks is funny. Mr. Harniman thinks it's funny. We're gonna have to have words about motorized scooter. I want that one about 60s, 70s. Get me a short mobility. Or just get de-restricted and mowing people down. Anyway, it is one of them ones where I have been straight shooting LJ.
And I've been the G-Man.
And to everyone who celebrates it on Thursday, enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully Liverpool will beat United and Jazzy will be back next week. But it's one of them ones. We'd like to say thank you very much and good night.